Oh, Grand Rising. Grand Rising. Thank you for joining me this morning. We're going live in 10 minutes.
10 minutes until showtime.
10 minutes until showtime. Grand Rising. We are going live in 5 minutes here on blogtalkradio.com, the Female Solution, and on our YouTube channel, Higher Learning TV Show. Higher Learning TV Show. See right there behind me. And on Facebook.com, HLNTV, as well as Facebook.com, Zelda Speaks. So be sure and join us this morning. We're talking about joint rolling this morning. Are your joints big enough? Are they bad enough? Will you be able to
9 minutes
do what you need to do
showtime.
to roll your joints, to keep your joints smoothly flowing? Yeah, we're talking about the power of joint rolling. So join us this morning from 7 a.m. till 9 a.m. Central Standard Time right here on blogtalkradio.com, the Female Solution, and our YouTube and Facebook channel. So be sure and join us and share. Namaste, Hotep. Thanks for watching. Drink my tea in the morning. I'm so hot by the time I come on the show.
Eight minutes until showtime.
8 minutes till showtime.
Seven minutes until showtime.
Find my show intro.
Until showtime.
6 minutes until showtime.
5 minutes until showtime.
'Be sure I got my phone on vibrate. Do you have your phone on vibrate? Nope, it was not on vibrate. So you be sure yours is on vibrate. It is now. Okay. Four minutes till showtime.
Until showtime.
3 minutes until showtime. Minutes until showtime. One minute, y'all. 1 minute. 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute. Do, 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 do. Do, do, do.
Women have the power to transform this world. We can end crime and violence if we all agree to do one thing: share. Let's share our wisdom, share our time, share our talent, share our finances, but most of all, let's share our love. This is the Female Solution. Join me, Naima Latif, every morning, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central Standard Time, as we bring you stimulating discussions about the issues affecting our lives. If you're listening online at www.blogtalkradio.com/the-female-solution, press the blue button that says follow and get our daily topics every morning directly to your email and your smartphone. Hi, I'm Naima Latif, executive producer of the Female Solution radio show. We invite you to call in 515-605-9325 and participate in this daily think tank as we examine the challenges we face and develop solutions that restore peace and harmony. We are global transformers, changing the world from the way it is to the way it should be. We are one. Wherever we live on this earth, we are one human family. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to extend a greeting to all the members of our family, whenever and wherever you may be listening around the world. To our family in China, Ni Hao. In India, Namaste. In Japan, Konnichiwa. In Korea, Annyeonghaseyo. In Russia, Здравствуйте. In Germany, Guten Tag. In Poland, Dzień dobry. In France, Bonjour. In Spain, Hola. In Italy, Ciao. In Egypt, Asamasata. In Ghana, Akwaba. In Nigeria, Peleo. In South Africa, Salbona. In Senegal, Nangada. In Kenya, Jambo. In Israel, Shalom. In Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Saudi Arabia, Assalamu alaikum. Greetings, and may peace be upon you all. Is Monday morning a struggle to get out of bed into the swing of things? Don't worry, you are not alone. Join us for thought-provoking, stimulating, and mindful conversations on higher learning with Delta Speak for your Monday morning mindfulness session on Blog Talk Radio, the Female Solution. Monday, 7:30 to 9 a.m. Be sure to leave your ideas, thoughts, comments, and suggestions. Also, if you'd like to be a guest on the show, visit DeltaSpeaks.com and visit your info. We'd love to have you. Experience mindfulness moments with the mindfulness/stress relief coach, Delta Speaks. And thanks for sharing the mindfulness moments with us today. Stay on purpose, stay empowered, and stay tuned to the next session of mindfulness on higher learning with Delta Speaks. Make it a mindful day. Thanks for listening.
Grand Rising. And thank you so much for joining me this morning on Monday Morning Mindfulness. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the show on blogtalkradio.com, The Female Solution, Higher Learning with Zelda Speaks, as we continue to celebrate Black History Month. And if you have done your homework, you will know that Black history is every day of the year, not just February, as we have been told to celebrate. We know better than that. So if you spend half as much time on the Super Bowl as you did learning about your history or her story, you will know that we have been misfed incorrect information. And I'll share more of that with you later as we continue here today. But happy Earth Day, birthday, born day. If today is your birthday, we are celebrating with you. Today is Monday, February 8th, 2021. And our prayers are with you as we celebrate you and give thanks for you, because if there were no you, there would be no me. I'd be talking to the wall. I do that sometimes anyway, so it really doesn't matter. But we're praying for the sick and the shut in and the essential workers, those who are on the front line of this pandemic, as we continue to celebrate the power of the people. And today we're talking about the power of joint rolling. Are your joints strong enough to withstand what's going on? Remember, a couple of weeks ago, we started the Higher Learning Hip Roll here on the Higher Learning Network because uh, I was having some hip issues. And that's why Dr. Jason Lee Smith of Wicker Park, Chiro, and 606 Health will be joining us in the 7:30 hour today. So you see me moving like this. Is she crazy? No, she's just doing the Higher Learning Hip Roll. And that's what probably you need to do too, because sitting is the new smoking. So if you are sitting still an hour or more, half hour or more, it doesn't matter. The joints need to be rolled. So get those joints rolling. He'll be joining us at 7:30. And the news. It is the second anniversary, February 19th to be exact, of the transition or death of my little brother Douglas Robinson, who was murdered. It was in the Chicago Tribune. Light bright man, they called him, Douglas Robinson, February 18th or the 19th. I get the days confused. And we will be celebrating his transition by taking up a collection for the homeless down in Tent City. We're trying to no, we are not trying. We are raising money for the generators and air mattresses. They need to be cold. They need to be not left out in the cold, because they are in the cold. And some people can stand that cold. I'm not one of them. So anyway, if you want to contribute, you can go to our website. Deductions are tax deductible. You can go to higherlearningnetwork.org, and you can go to PayPal, and the email address is higherlearningn as in net, W as in work, higherlearningnw at yahoo.com. Thank you for joining us if you're listening online this morning on all of our social media channels, the Higher Learning Network TV show, which is on YouTube, youtube.com, Higher Learning TV show. And you can follow us there. Please subscribe. And thank you so much for subscribing. Ahead of time, if you are on Facebook, we're on HLN TV show, as well as my personal page, Zelda Speaks, because there's several Zelda Robinson. So, I had to differentiate. And on Instagram, it's Zelda Speaks 2 and the number 2 and the letter U. So please subscribe if you haven't. And be sure and go to the new social media sites from the Women's Media Group and sign on. It's called pixely.com. And be sure and check out my blog, Zelda Robinson. Excuse me, I keep saying Zelda Robinson, but it's Zelda Speaks wordpress.com. That's zeldaspeaks.wordpress.com. So be sure and check that out. Okay. And you can join us right here in our new social media room. And it's called Clubhouse. And if you are an iPhone user, you can join in as well. Don't ask me why it's not for Android because I don't know. Somebody invited me, so that's how I got on there. And if you are one of those people who believe in natural healing, in which I do, because Granny used to tell us to go get roots from the yard when she sent me to get a stick to spank me too. But anyway, um, you will know that for pain and inflammation, for joints, arthritis, things of that nature, you can always go. If you believe in micro frequency healing, be sure and tune in tomorrow from 7 until 9 a.m. Our new host, this will be her second show, Jody Susan of Susan Essentials, will be talking about that, and you don't want to miss that show. Her first show was off the chain. I can't wait to see what the second one is. So, but anyway, if you want micro frequency healing, currents, you believe in that as I do because it's working for me, then you can go to my site, zelda.now.site, zelda.now.site. Excuse me. And if you've noticed that the grocery bills are getting a little bit higher, groceries going to be so high, everything's contaminated. You got to grow your own veggies. If you don't do nothing but get some seeds and put them in the window and start germinating, give them lots of light. But in the meantime, I got a tower garden. So you can go to zeldarobinson.towergarden.com. And while you're at it on the internet, go to diabeticdonut.com and get your free download, How I Reverse Type 2 Diabetes, because it's all in the diet. And vegetables is what saved me. And if you are not a big veggie eater like I'm not, I love me some greens. I cooked some the other day, but you can't eat greens 7 days a week. I know I did, but anyway, it's time that you start your own veggie garden. And if you want to do that, it will help reverse type 2 diabetes. If I did it, anybody can do it. So go to diabeticdonut.com or higherlearningnetwork.org and you can download the free ebook on how I reverse type 2 diabetes. And please share that with someone. It's 7-11. Let's take a look at the weather. It's occasional light snow today, and weather is sponsored by Karen Kelly of itex.com. There is up to 13 today, only 3 degrees right now. So if you're heading out today, get you a heavy coat, gloves, scarf, sweater, mitt, everything you need because it is cold outside. Okay, as we take a look at traffic today, as I said, traffic is sponsored by itex.com. On the Metro Milwaukee line, you can expect delays due to frozen tracks. Also, CTA delays on Lawrence and Kimball. As we take a look at the Kennedy inbound, it's 18 minutes inbound and 14 on the reverse. On the Eaton's 25 in, 16 out. There's a water break causing delays, so expect delays there. Inbound on the Eisenhower, it's 24 on the outbound due to Costner. That accident has been cleared up. On the Stevenson, 50 minutes inbound due to delays at Pulaski. On the outbound, it is 18. 18 on the Dan Ryan inbound and 15 on the outbound. On the Bishop Ford and Lakeshore Drive is 12 and 11 in both directions. And that's your traffic and weather, sponsored by Karen Kelly of itex.com. For your spiritual reading for the day, it is 7:13. And I have told you I have been reading from this book, in which I'm going to get to in just a minute. But I want you to take a look at the free download you can get for Black History at A New Being, ANEW Being, BEING, anewbeing.com. And you can get the free printout of Black History. And that's from Maika. So you be sure and go to that site. And today is the 8th. And of course, it's talking about health. In 1988, by Debbie Thomas, celebrating Debbie Thomas as the African American Olympics figure skater. And that's just one of them. In 1962, Lisa Jackson was the first African American administrator of the EPA chemical engineer. In 1949, Will Allen urban farmer, teacher. And these are birthdays, and we're celebrating uh, in 1944, Henry McAlpin, the first African American news reporter to attend the White House press conference in 1944. And in 1924, Joseph Black, the first Black pitcher to win a World Series game in 1924. So what does that take? And there's all kinds of good tidbits and information. So be sure and go to anewbeing.com. And I posted that on my blog, zeldaspeaks.wordpress.com. Now, this is the information that I wanted to share with you in reference to Black History Month. And this book is just blowing me away every single day. Black people invented everything. Can you say that with me? Everything, not some things, everything. I mean, I go through this book and I am just blown away how our history has been held back, erased, transposed, lied about, and we all believe it. And I am just in my senior years discovering it. But better late than never. I'm looking out the window and I'm looking at the snow. I said, why am I still here in Chicago? How come I'm not down in Florida with my sister on the microphone Viata where it was 75 degrees yesterday? Okay, that's another story. I digress. But I just want to share with you the contents, the table of contents. Black people made America. The deep history, the invisible man, a deep depth. The original history is timeless. Black history, oh my God. Black people invented transportation. This is what we invented. Did you know that? Transportation. Black people invented style. Well, we already know that. Black people invented surgery. Oh, yes. Music, of course. Cuisine. Big mama can throw down in the kitchen. Everybody except me. That's what I got a husband for. Don't tell him I tell you. Okay, Black people invented housing. Housing? Really? Black people made animals? Really? Okay, that's on page 101. Black people invented medicine. Now, this is what really threw me for a loop. 116. I mean, it just my eyes are just, I can't put the book down. Ancient medicine, ancient Egypt had universal health care. Really? What is bush medicine? 119. See, they tell us bush medicine is voodoo. It's just from the bushes, baby. Everything comes from nature. So what is there to be afraid of? Nothing. Witch doctors. Okay, that's a whole nother story. You've been misled and misfed, and that's on page 120. Prehistoric medical practice. The theft of traditional knowledge on 122. The first sexual protection, and you thought it was somebody else. Ha ha! Okay, that's on 123. Black people invented farming, education, art. As I turn over, I'm still in the index. Black people invented manufacturing on page 150. On 163, Black people invented mining. On page 169, Black people invented metalworking. This is all news to me, and I'm sure it's to you as well. This will really, you'll love this one. Black people invented government on page 182. Black people invented business on 189. Black people invented language, 195. Now we know that because Snoop with the shizzle and the fizzle and the faux shizzle, we already know that. Black people invented sports on page 208. Did you know that? I did not know that. We invented sports? Really? Wow, we've been so misinformed. Black people invented weapons on page 212. And on page 219, the science of creation. It's just phenomenal. I cannot tell you. This should be in every home because your children need to know they are not who they have been told they are. We have not been told who we think we are. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So I invite you to get your own copy. I'm sorry, I forgot to tell you, it's by Dr. Sujan, Sujan Kumar Das, DASS. He's the founder of the Solutionary Institute. Yes, and we are solutionaries here, right here on the Female Solution. If you are a regular follower of the show, then you would know that it is 7:19, and it is time for a Monday morning mindfulness stretch as we wake up the body this morning. Are your joints strong enough to maintain this body that we're all experiencing a shutdown where you got to sit down and can't get back up? Well, you can do something about that. So what we're going to do today is what we always do, is quiet ourselves and spend some quiet time with ourselves and continue to uplift ourselves just by going within, because it's when we go within and get quiet that we learn what we need to know, what the ancestors are trying to tell us. Yes, girlfriend, you need to get quiet so you can hear what I got to say. That's why every morning I'm up. And I hope you'll add this to your practice, because we've got to reprogram our consciousness if we are to move forward on the level that we intend to. You see, we've got to reprogram our DNA on a cellular level, because it is at that level that we are in contact with our higher consciousness. You see, the breath changes the vibrations, the frequencies in your body. And as one of my guests mentioned a word that I'd never heard, he said the reticular activity systems in the body, telekinesis and telepathic communications. And that's why we practice with the power of the breath as we breathe in and as we breathe out. So let us position ourselves to become still, giving thanks for the power of the breath, remembering that long, deep breaths relax the system. Short, shallow breaths stress the system, and the nervous system can override the health of the body. So that's why we want to inhale to the count of 5, hold it, and exhale. So let us prepare. Sit up straight, feet flat on the floor, nothing in your hands, nothing in your lap. Put your phone down, turn the TV off, and go within, because this is a moment that most people will never get to, because we have been bombarded with outside distractions, such as the cell phone and the TV and the radio show. But just for this moment, we deserve the very best to begin the process of learning to love ourselves and develop a system using affirmations and utilizing the power of the breath to go within and get answers to all the questions that we may have. So let us begin. As we inhale deeply, close your eyes. You should not be looking at me. And inhale through the nose to the count of 5, hold it, and then exhale. Are you ready? Get comfortable. And I'm sweating like a whoo. I'm drinking hot tea and I got a light on me, so you can imagine how that's going. Excuse me. As we inhale deeply, hold it, and exhale. Oh, just that one long, deep breath. If you did it deep enough through the nose, you'll feel it immediately. Inhale deeply through the nose. Hold it. And exhale. Always breathing through the nose. You can get a deeper inhalation with the nose. Inhale once more. Inhale deeply. Hold it. And exhale. Giving thanks for the power of the breath. And as I speak, continue to inhale and exhale, counting on your own. Giving thanks for the power of the breath, because someone somewhere is not as lucky as you. They don't have the power of the breath. They may have a respiratory illness, a trachea in their throat, and just uncomfortable and afraid of being alone. But it's okay, because we send love, light, and energy and breathe for them, with them. As we inhale deeply, hold it, and exhale. And this time when we breathe, let us bring our hands into the air and stretch as we inhale deeply, bringing love, light, and energy of the power of the breath through our hands, bringing that energy down from the top of our head to the top of our face, down to our chin as we are breathing, inhaling and exhaling. Bringing that energy from the face to the shoulders as we move those shoulders and rotate those shoulders, sending love and light and energy and more love and more deep breathing down through the solar plexus as we inhale deeply. And as we hold it, exhale, sending more love, light, and energy down through the sides and the back and the buttocks and the hips. As you may feel free to join me in the higher learning hip row because we are moving those hips because we sit all day and we need to keep those joints rolling to keep them moving so that we can continue to be mobile as we breathe in. And as we breathe out, sending more love and light and energy to the hips. Keep the joints rolling, moving the energy on down with the power of our breath through our knees, sending love and light and energy to the knees. Yes, Lord, I need the energy in the knees. Yes. Oh, I feel it and it feels so good as we send more love and light and energy down through the legs. As we inhale deeply. And sending more love and light and energy down through the feet, the ankles, the arches, the insteps, and the toes. Feel free to wiggle those toes and sending that love and light and energy back up through the toes as we inhale deeply. Bringing the energy back up through the ankles and the arches and the heel and the calves and the knees, just feeling that energy flowing throughout the body. And all you have to do is breathe as we inhale deeply. Bringing that energy back up through the thighs and the hips and the buttock and the back and the sides and bringing it back up to the shoulders as we inhale deeply. Reach those hands behind your back, behind your neck, and massaging the shoulders with your hands, pulling that stress out, releasing that stress from the shoulders, and feel free to squeeze the back of the neck where that vagus nerve is, sending love and light and energy as we breathe in and as we breathe out. As we breathe in, sending more love and light and energy back up through the face, back to the top of the head as we continue to move that body and stretch. Yes, stretch like a cat. Getting love and light and energy all throughout the body. Wiggle the fingers and the shoulders. Yes, as we breathe in and as we as you continue to breathe in and breathe out, giving thanks for the power of the breath as we send love and light and energy to each and every organ in the body, beginning with the brain, which sends information to the nose through the throat to breathe in and to breathe out. We give thanks for the power of the lungs, the liver, the spleen, the spine, the digestive, assimilation, and elimination systems. Because I know some of you are constipated. Oops, did she say I can't poop? Yes, she did as we breathe in. And as we breathe out. Sending love and light and energy to the bowel system, knowing that it will release itself today, especially if you are stuck. How much water are you drinking? I digress. Get you some Nopalina. You'll be just fine. As we breathe in as we take our last long, deep inhale. Inhale deeply. Hold it. And as you exhale, repeat the words, affirmations out loud. I am two of the most powerful words on the planet. I am grateful. As we breathe in. I am an immune production machine. I am immune to disease because I do whatever it is I need to do to keep my immune system at 100. That is the goal of the day, to keep it 100. As we breathe in. And as we breathe out, bring that head forward, chin to chest, and slowly, slowly, slowly rotate that head to the back, to the side, to the back. Slow down. You're moving too fast. Slow down. You should just be getting around to the right and bringing the head back around to the front. Head up. Inhale deeply. And as you exhale, bring the head down, chin to your chest, and slowly rotate the head to the right. Oh, that feels so good. And slowly getting around to the back. Slow down. You're moving too fast. I know you. And continuing to roll the head around to the left and back forward to the front. Head up. Inhale deeply. And as you exhale, look to the left as far as you possibly can, feeling a stretch in the right of the neck. Yes. And bringing the head back forward. Inhale deeply. And as you exhale, turn the head to the right, feeling a stretch in the left side of the neck as far as you possibly can. And exhale, bringing the head back forward. Take one more long, last, deep inhale deeply. And exhale. And give thanks for the power of the breath. Because someone somewhere is having difficulty this morning. And how fortunate are you that you are not one of those people? You simply are one of the people who have now the knowledge to know that when things are not going your way and you are feeling stressed out, you simply excuse me, you simply begin the process of inhaling deeply through your nose. Inhale deeply. And exhale. And if you do that in the midst of chaos, people will look at you like you have lost your last mind. And that's okay. Because if you got a little funk, a little stank on your breath, like you didn't brush your teeth this morning, or you had some garlic or some onion, trust me, they will back off. Because when you exhale through the nose, it works every time. I'm telling you, this ain't what I heard. This is what I know. So this is a practice you can do every day. You can do it in 5 minutes. Whatever you think you are worthy of, however much time you think you are worthy of spending time with yourself to be the very best that you can be during the course of this day. And this is how we do it. And if you would be so kind, we'd greatly appreciate the fact if you'd go to our YouTube channel and let us know how much you appreciate it. Go to youtube.com, Higher Learning TV Show. And then I've also got Zelda Speaks too. If you would subscribe, we'd greatly appreciate it. It's 7:33. Thank you so very much for joining us this morning on The Female Solution. I'm your host, Zelda Speaks. And coming up, we've got some Black history. You don't know anything about it. So you stay close right here on The Female Solution, and we'll be back with more information.
Hi, I'm Dr. CJ of Valona Health, where we combine orthopedic manual therapy and neuroscience to treat the whole person. Health tip for the day is keep it moving. Doesn't matter how, just keep it moving doing something you enjoy. Walking, dancing, rolling on the floor with your dogs or kids, really anything. The body craves movement to keep its bones, joints, and muscles happy. Even our mental health and internal organs and digestive system rely on our movement. Thanks for being a part of the Higher Learning Network on The Female Solution. Jody Susan of Susan Essentials is certified by the #1 functional medicine doctor on plant-based healing essential oils, which are revolutionizing the way we manage our well-being. Schedule today to take control of your health. We all say we would like to be wealthy, but wealth isn't determined by how much money you have. Wealth is determined by your power to define what money is. The dictionary defines money as something used as a way to pay for goods and services and to pay people for their work. So how would you like to have access to an unlimited source of money? Money that is not taxed by the government. Money that increases as you share the opportunity with others. Money that you can use to pay for goods and services and pay people for their work. I'm talking about Bitcoin. It's the future of independent wealth building. Bitcoin is the new money that you control. Get started building your wealth. Call 312-849-3456. That's 312-849-3456. You are tuned in to the Soulful Chicago Book Fair 2020 Vision Fundraising Campaign. That's right. You can support the vision of reviving Black literary excellence in the city by simply taking your $20 or more and donating it on our website. Visit www.soulfulchicagobookfair.com and click the Donate tab on our homepage. Or give us a call at 646-359-6605, and we welcome you, helping us bring literary life into the South Side of Chicago. Are you constantly arguing with yourself? Are your children used to living right now? Becoming the family you deserve? Have you been victim of domestic violence? Are you grieving the loss of a loved one? Let us help you restore serenity to your life. At Serenity Family Social Services, we understand that good mental health is the result of emotional well-being. Our goal is to assist you and your family in removing emotional distress and restoring harmony and balance to your lives. We offer individual, couples, and family counseling. I'm Howard Williams, CEO of Serenity Family Social Services. Call us today at 312-315-4820. That's 312-315-4820.
Grand Rising. And thank you for joining us back here on The Female Solution. I'm your host, Zelda Speaks, and we are joined by, excuse me, the executive producer of The Female Solution, and that would be my sister of the microphone, Naima Latif. Unmute yourself, my sister, as you join us this morning here on Clubhouse and on The Female Solution and on our YouTube channel. Be sure and set your alarm for 7 a.m. tomorrow, Central Standard Time, for self-cell care. What is self-cell care? C-E-L-L. No, not the cell phone. We're talking about the cells within the body. Self-cell care with Jody Susan. On Wednesday, it's our sister, Naima Latif, with Kareem Hamid, Repairing Family Relationships. On Thursday, it's the Women's Roundtable. Yeah, we get a chance. Everybody gets a chance to chime in. And on Friday, Health and Wellness with Viata. Saturdays, we have rotating hosts, and then we're not on at 7 to 9 a.m. We're at noon on Saturdays. The first Saturday is Nonviolent Communication with Jana. If you participated this past Saturday, I'll let Naima tell you a little bit about that. But the second Saturday, Black Taboo with Love, Joy, and Powers. Third Saturday, Travel with Deborah. And fourth Saturday, Wisdom with Mama D. Yes. And on Sunday, Soul Purpose Healing with Viata. Did you hear the show last night? Oh, you got to go back and hear this in the archives. You think the what's the football? You think the football? What's it called, Naima?
Super Bowl.
I can barely Super Bowl. See, I don't even watch it. I don't even know what it's called. The Super Bowl. You think Super Bowl or something, baby? You need to be on the Soul Purpose Super Bowl last night. Go back and it's in the archives. That's Soul Purpose Healing with Viata. She's on Facebook too. Vietta. That's on Soul Purpose Healing. And then coming back on Monday, yours truly, right here on the Female Solution, Monday Morning Mindfulness. Hope you enjoyed the morning meditation this morning as we are joined by my sister of the microphone, and that would be Naima Latif. Looking gorgeous this morning, as always. I just love it.
I got to keep up with you, you know.
Girl, ain't no keeping up. Ain't no keeping up. I might need to borrow the earrings, girl. Turn to the side. Let me see them earrings.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, those are gorgeous. I love that. Yes, with a great, big, beautiful smile. It just makes me sad. Have you noticed that when you smile, I'm sorry, when somebody else smiles, it makes you smile too? Have you noticed that?
Well, everything, because we're all connected, emotions are contagious. It's just like if somebody starts crying, you feel bad. Have you ever been to an event and, you know, somebody would get choked up and they're giving a speech or something, they get emotional, and the next thing you know, you're crying. You know, same thing with a smile. If you smile, it's so because we're all connected psychically, spiritually, and everything, we feel each other's feelings. So when you smile, it makes other people smile.
Yes, it does. And that's proof in the pudding that we're all connected.
Yes.
How can we stay connected when there are so many forces trying to disconnect us? How do we continue that process?
Well, you know, we've been talking about not caving into the fear and the excessive focus on who died, so that we're always paranoid about breathing air. You know, it's a bit ridiculous. And of course, we understand that health care in this country is a business decision, because if it really were about healing, we would not even have this coronavirus. We would have been healed. There are things that other countries have done to eliminate the virus, and we have not done. And instead, everybody's being shoved into this state of panic and then running to get, as Beata calls it, an experimental injection.
Mm-hmm.
And I respect people's right to do that. If you feel like you want to inject a disease that you don't have into your veins to give your body a chance to create an immunity to the disease, if that is your understanding, then you're welcome to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But for those who realize that as energy beings, we already have the capacity to create resistance to invasions into our bodies by our very vibration and frequency. If we understand that, assisted with the right kinds of food and environment, breathing in clean air, if we understand that, then for those who understand that, if your spirit tells you do not inject something into your system that is poisonous, then follow your spirit. And if you are not forced by your job to have an inoculation, if you are not forced in any way, if you have the free will to make that choice, then by all means exercise your free will choice. Now, for those who are feeling like they need to go and get a vaccine, you are free to do that. I certainly would not do that if I were a woman of childbearing age, because when things are in your body, they're passed on to your unborn child. Mm-hmm. And the assumption is that an immunity would be passed on to your unborn child. But would you really want to experiment with the life of your unborn child by putting poison in your system, and you don't know what the effects may be, because there has been no study done to show us what are the long range effects of this? So we have an opportunity to grow beyond the mass brainwashing into fear. And everybody is, at least now that things have slowed down a bit, we've had a chance to spend more time in solitude. And when you're in solitude, you can speak to your creator. And when you speak to your creator, you can get deeper understanding, because you're not listening to the brainwashing box of the television. You're listening to the source of all knowledge and all life. So when you get quiet, as you always say, and breathe, you're breathing in the breath of life, and you're quiet and listening, then follow your instincts, follow your own inner voice. Do not let someone tell you that you're not capable of being in tune with the Creator because you're not good enough. You're not holy enough. You're not this or that. Ignore those voices, because a lot of that is brainwashing from religious institutions to make people feel like they're not worthy of God to talk to them. And you got to go and ask, this person that has a degree from an institution what God said. No, you don't.
Come on now.
Just be quiet and listen, because we are all extensions of the source of all life. And if we will be quiet and listen and breathe in, unmasked, breathe in oxygen, so you can breathe in, clear your lungs, clear your head, cleanse your blood, breathe in and get quiet and listen and ask the questions you need to ask. Should I do this? Is this for my highest good? Before you do anything, that includes an inoculation of any kind of medicine, anything that you plan to do, a relationship, is this for my highest good? And if it isn't, you will be told, you will feel if it isn't. Now, if you choose to ignore that voice and do it anyway, well, you get what you get because you had the free will to listen and pay attention. But you have to trust your own voice and not propaganda that is based on profit making from some people who really don't care about your healing. Because if they did, we would have done the things that could have been done to stop the pandemic from spreading in the first place. And we didn't do those things. Something as simple as contact tracing. Okay, who were you in contact with? All right, well, let's just check them out. Make sure everybody just stays in place. Give us 2 weeks of just stopping motion. 2 weeks. If we had just 2 weeks, we could have gotten rid of this. But they chose not to, because the focus was to sell a vaccine. So for those of us who know, we're making different choices. Those who don't know, you're free to do what you do. But we have to not allow our culture to disintegrate into such detachment where you're afraid to hug your children, elders, because that's kind of what's happening. And I think Viata spoke about that, and I think we spoke about that a bit on Saturday as well. The emotional illness that comes as a result of not having physical contact. You need physical contact. That's an energy exchange.
Thank you.
When you have a child and you don't give them that energy exchange, well, you can look at a child in nature. If you've ever seen a situation where maybe a deer has just given birth and they left a fawn there, and maybe they couldn't come back because people were around. Well, as a matter of fact, it happened at one of local cemeteries where they have deer roaming around, and one of them had a baby, but there were people around, and so the deer couldn't get back to the child in time, and it died. And you see that happen all the time. When you don't have physical contact, you die. So if we're telling people, well, you can't touch anybody because they might spread a germ and you might get a disease. And so we get to this point in our culture where we stop hugging, or we stop holding hands, or, we stop putting our arms around each other. When we get to that point, then we're going to see much more worse diseases than the coronavirus. When you don't have that energy exchange, then you're not exchanging the energy that helps boost your immune system.
Thank you. Teach my sister.
So we have to get over the fear that if I breathe your air, it's going to kill me.
You're breathing it in the mask, and you don't know where that mask was made, in China somewhere. I'm sorry, in Asia somewhere, or with filthy. You've seen the celebrities who have manufacturing plants over in another country, and it's filthy rats, roaches,
right?
Everything.
They have standards, right? So because not every place has standards of health and cleanliness in what they do, whether it's food production or production of clothing, you don't know where things have been. So you're putting something up against your face, and then you're breathing in air, and then you're breathing in recycled air because you're not allowing the air that you breathe out to leave. You're breathing it back in. So if you think logically, you realize that if you are wearing a mask, and especially when there's nobody else around but you, if you think with intelligence, you realize that's an insane thing to do. I was in a parking lot the other day, and I saw this woman sitting up in her car with a mask on. I said, "Why is she wearing a mask?" I looked around. There's nobody in the back seat. Nobody anywhere. Why are you in your car wearing a mask? There's nobody there. But
Indoctrination.
But this is what has happened to us. We're not thinking. So we're withdrawing from all the things that could heal us: fresh air, sunshine, walks in the park, spending time with loved ones. We're doing all the things that keep us healthy, where we're being told to stay away from them. So of course we're going to keep getting sick and keep staying sick. And then you have all these elders who, because the elder homes, the nursing homes are saying, well, it's dangerous for them to have visitors. They're more likely to get susceptible to the virus. So now they're dying quicker because they don't have human contact, which is what keeps you alive. From loneliness. Yeah, they're dying of loneliness. And they don't all have all these computers and know how to operate a cell phone. They can do FaceTime. All these seniors, they don't have all that stuff. They're not tech savvy in the way we would want them to be. A lot of them are, but a whole lot of them are not. Mm-hmm. Most isolated. Most are not. Many are not. So they're just isolated. So they don't get contact, don't get visitors, don't get calls, don't get anything, and they die. Mm-hmm. So we have to choose to override the fear and choose to believe that our Creator is supplying us with air that will cleanse our bodies, keep our lungs clear, clean our blood. We have to believe that our Creator, that who's been taking care of us all this time, will continue to replenish what we need to revitalize our bodies. And we need to go outside as much as possible. Stop being afraid of the oxygen. Oh, I can't breathe. Go outside. If people around you are afraid, okay, that's fine. Walk in solitude. Walk in the park. Walk somewhere where you can, if you want to keep the distance from people, if you feel like, okay, well, I don't want to get the virus, at least breathe air outside. Unconstructed. A day. Unmasked. You need pure oxygen. Even in this 3-degree weather, you still need to go outside. If it's just for 5 minutes, preferably 30 minutes, but at least 5 minutes to get some real air, not polluted from what's in the apartment or the house. Well, the snow is the snow is actually a cleansing process. So we're seeing this fresh, crisp air. It's cleaning whatever was in the air that we feel is dangerous. So we should be more apt to go out in the air, be around trees. Trees are giving us oxygen. That's what they do. Walk where there are trees, walk in parks, walk in nature, walk where you can get fresh air from the plants, the trees. They're giving it to you for free. Right. You got to go and buy a mask. Right. But you can get air out of yourself. Yes. So it really takes courage. Yes, it does. To not allow yourself to be brainwashed. But then you're listening to the television sets and you're listening to your cell phones and your computers. You listen to all of this propaganda of your own free will. Mm-hmm. No one's making you do this. You're choosing to do this because you believe if you don't keep ingesting this information, then you're going to miss something. No, you won't. And you don't trust your gut. You don't trust your gut. Your gut is from the Creator, and you don't even trust it because you believe what man said, and man is not responsible for your being here on this planet. So how are you going to trust man? You don't trust the spirit that is within you, that guards and directs you, that wakes you up and puts you to sleep at night. How can you not trust that? Are people not noticing that none of the animals have changed their behavior in terms of not breathing or having mass deaths? I mean, the entire animal kingdom is still functioning. And if there was truly something that was going to wipe away all life, they know about it first because they're connected to the higher power. They already have their spiritual connection intact. So like if a hurricane is coming and you see all of the flocks of birds flying away, or you see the squirrels and everybody running, because they know they're in tune with the planet, they're in tune with nature. And so if they are not acting like they're in panic, why are we? And I'm not saying that people have not exited this planet from complications from the virus. That has happened. It's hard for people to realize and accept that death is a pre-planned decision. All of us came here with an exit plan. And a lot of people chose to leave through this means at this time for this purpose of teaching us something. First of all, they finished whatever they had to do. And second of all, this gives them a chance to get out of here, take a rest, come back when the earth is better, and it will be better. And third of all, it gives an incentive for us to think deeper about how we handle sickness so that our healthcare system can evolve. We can realize that the ways we keep maintaining sickness and calling it healthcare is wrong. We need to come to that collective realization that if we really mean for the highest good of people, we will look at ways of healing and not trying to prolong their suffering so that they have to keep buying medication. We have to change our intention in the healthcare system. And when we change the intention, then we will create and discover new solutions that will keep us well and in perfect health. So everybody who and I know it's hard if you're mourning. I know it's hard to hear that your loved one in spirit before they came here planned to leave you at this time. But if you can accept that, then that also helps you look at your life differently. We are eternal beings having this temporary earth experience for the purpose of learning. But if your belief system says, this is all you got, this 20, 30, 40 years, and that's it, you're either going to heaven or hell. If that's your belief, then you're not going to be able to accept when someone transitions. You're not going to be able to accept that they made that choice. You're not going to be able to accept that you're not going to leave here until it's your time. And until you accept that, then you're going to always live in fear, always afraid somebody's going to kill you, somebody's going to hurt you, somebody's going to you're going to be a victim. You know, you're going to keep thinking that because you're living in fear instead of knowing that you have the power to decide what you want your life to be. And you can live your life to the fullest without being afraid all the time. And as long as you are fearing other people, then you get manipulated into behaviors where you allow the abuse of other people. This is part of what we have to change as a society. This group of people is dangerous, so it's okay if they get abused.
That's what they tell. That's what they tell everybody about us, especially immigrants who come to this country.
Yes.
Stay off the south side of Chicago. Stay off the west side of Chicago. Black people out there, you don't want to be around them. And we didn't, and we don't even know who we are. We're still calling ourselves black. We're not black.
Well, you know, we struggle with identity because we're thinking we are the body that we're in. I'm not a body. I have a body. And this body happens to look this way. And people who look this way are the same God force as every other body, no matter what color it is, no matter what kind of hair it is. We are God inside a body, having a physical experience. The same God force that lives in me lives in you. If I know this, then I don't have to fear you. You don't have to fear me. I can bring out the best in you. You can bring out the best in me. But as long as other people can tell you, if you look at this person with this physical body, that means that you should be afraid because those people who look like that do bad things. Now, if you allow people to manipulate your thought like that, then when you see things that are horrific, such as, you know, the public murder of George Floyd, you'll be trying to justify, well, he must have done something. Well, didn't they say he had a counterfeit $20 bill? What? And that deserves death? Really? Right. So you can't even think logically when somebody has twisted your thinking to be so illogical, where you believe that certain people should be oppressed and abused and killed because of the way they look. So all of that, even his passing away from this earth the way it was, as horrific as it was intended to raise mass consciousness, and it did. And there are people who are realizing that. It took that act for a lot of those who are not of our particular racial persuasion or skin color to realize the ugliness that exists that has to be eradicated. And so it raised the consciousness of many whites who didn't understand how horrible racism is and how mean-spirited police have been to the community that they're supposed to be serving and protecting. And for them to realize, I don't want to be that kind of person. That's horrible. And so they made a change. They were out there marching with the Black Lives Matter people because they didn't want to be associated with that kind of behavior. So if you look at someone like George Floyd, and you look at the idea that someone made a decision before being born that this is how I'm going to exit. I'm going to exit in such a way that I literally change the world. Now that's a major decision to make.
Yes, it is.
But if you understand that this is who we are as eternal beings, we're making decisions about how we're going to leave here in a way that's beneficial because it's inspiring new thought. It's inspiring new explorations. It's inspiring new experimentation in terms of exploration of how to heal. Because first of all, those who choose to leave by violence are inspiring people to think of ways to eliminate violence. How can we help our society be more loving and kind to the people who are motivated to perform acts of violence because they've been neglected and abused? How can we change that? Those people who choose to leave here by sickness choose to inspire new kinds of discoveries in medicine and healthcare. How can we keep our bodies well so that we don't go through this pain and suffering? So every life is a choice. Every death is a choice. And it's meant to inspire us to be better. So if we understand that, then we can make different decisions about how we choose to live, rather than choosing to live so separate from people, so unloving, so distant. We will choose to do the things that enhance the love because that's what we need. That's what our society needs. We need to be more unified. We need to be more accepting. We need to be more forgiving. So every life teaches us something, and what our life is going to look like in the future, we're going to be able to appreciate every group on this earth that has contributed something to humanity's growth, whatever skin they're in. We're going to, instead of lying about people and saying, well, these people did nothing, they're mean, they're bad, they're primitive. Instead of lying about people, we'll be able to appreciate the truth of who they are. Yes, these people did all of these inventions, and you were reading that book about Black people and everything. So how are you going to tell a child who is dark skinned that they come from nothing, and then have them believe they come from nothing, so therefore they develop into nothing? Why would you do that to them when ultimately you're crushing their spirit, comes back to bite you, because then they become that person that comes out and carjacks. They don't see any value in that.
Oh my goodness, you hit the nail on the head. I was watching, I know I'm a little late on everything as it relates to TV, but I've just finished binge watching Power. It's been over, but I hadn't seen it. And they showed an episode where one of the characters, Dre, his mom, which was Ghost right hand, or used to be before he got in trouble, his mom told him he wasn't SHIT. He wasn't going to never be SHIT. And he carried that in his being. And when he finally come to grips with that and had a conversation with his mother, who told him that he said, now you understand why I act the way I act, because that is the seed you implanted in me. And I said, whoa, that was powerful. That was powerful. And there's a lot more powerful information coming your way. If you just tuned in, you're listening to The Female Solution with Executive Director Naima Latif, executive producer of the show, and I'm your host, Zelda Speaks. And we're also live on
Clubhouse, right?
Clubhouse. I'm looking at it right here in my face and can't even get the words out. Clubhouse. Be sure and go. We're going to take a quick break here. Be sure and go to my WordPress, ZeldaSpeaks.wordpress, my blog. And you see where it says download your free Black History Month calendar at www.anewbeing.com. It's free. So go to it's on my blog right now, ZeldaSpeaks.wordpress.com, and get that free calendar. You can download it. It looks like this. That's from Maika, who published this thick book. So there's lots of information on there. I mean, you can download it so you can share it with your children. And while you're there, be sure and go to youtube.com. We're having a fundraiser for Generators and air mattresses for the people in Tent City. Stay away from them homeless people, girl. You'll get disease. You can get disease right here. Anyway, so if you want to make a contribution to help somebody stay warm, this is your chance to do it. No amount is too small. No amount is too small. Generators and air mattresses. February 19th is the 2nd year anniversary of the transition of my little brother Douglas Robinson, who was murdered in Tent City by another homeless man. And I just could not leave them over there by themselves. So, we take them food, we take them clothes, we take them whatever we have to help keep them, because it's 3 degrees outside. Anyway, I digress. So please go to higherlearningnetwork.org. All donations are tax deductible, and you can make a difference in the quality of somebody's life who doesn't have a warm bed to sleep in at night like you do. So stay close and please share that information, okay? We'll be right back.
Do you want to live in a world without war? Global peace. Have we culture, world peace, and restoration of light, transcend culture, religion, ideology, and other boundaries to achieve peaceful harmony in the global society? HWPL is committed to bringing world peace and cessation of war through peaceful dialogue between religious groups. I am Director Shin Kim of the HWPL Chicago branch of North America. Join us for our next gathering. Call 773.
Maybe you can put the information about the you can donate down on the screen as well.
The what?
The information where people can donate to give the heaters and mattresses. Maybe put that on the screen also.
I'm going to type that in there now.
Society in the next 50 years. 50 years from now, the earth will be populated by a new generation of adults, many of whom are yet unborn. Our mission is to nurture them in childhood with love, guidance, and protection, and to raise them in healthy, happy families. If we impart values of compassion, generosity, and respect for fellow human beings in the next generation of children, they will create a world where people can live together in peace. This is our goal. Be a part of the transformation. Get your copy of the book, The Female Solution. Go to www.naimalatif.com. That's www.naimalatif.com.
This is Minister Cynthia Marie Williams, Spiritual Counselor and Advisor. I invite you to a private reading in the areas of business, health, finances, relationships for introductory cost of $20. Please call because there is a higher power that can help me help you. 312-802-4743. Peace and blessings to you all. Call me. 312-802-4743.
Oh man, God sent the monthly sun bill today. This sunlight is really expensive, especially during this season. I'll probably have to work overtime to pay it.
Well, you better pay it on time. We don't want the sun to go out and we're sitting up here all day in the dark. Wouldn't it be terrible if God charged us for sunlight? Well, thank God, the light and heat from the sun is free. So why are we paying such high bills for the energy we use in our homes? Because we don't know how to use solar energy, the free energy from the sun. You can convert your regular home to a solar energy home and save tremendously on your electric bill. Take a look at your electric bill. Wouldn't you like to reduce or possibly even eliminate that cost altogether? Let one of our solar consultants show you how. Call today, 312-849-3456, and schedule a free consultation. That's 312-849-3456.
It's 8:08 on The Female Solution. Thank you so much for joining us back here with my star of the microphone, executive producer, Naima Latif, as we do the Higher Learning Hip Roll. Yeah, we talking about rolling them joints this morning. What? What? Y'all talking about what? Rolling joints. Is that the can you get from the dispensary? No, baby, that's the can that the good Lord gave you, that the Savior, that the Creator gave you, honey. The Savior gave you some built-in joint relief, but all you have to do is use it. All right now. Hey, why are they moving like that? The higher learning hip roll. Gotta keep the joints flexible, baby. I'm telling you, this ain't what I heard. That's what I know. Oh, that's just for old folks. No, baby. If you sit at a computer all day, if you sit anywhere all day, if you stand too long, the muscles in the butt and in the back and in the legs, they get tight and they send a signal to the brain. And the brain says, oh, I got to protect you. So let me make it tight because we don't want nothing to happen to it. So we got to do things to loosen up them joints. So you don't have to go get no rolling papers. You don't have to find a pipe. You don't have to do none of that. All you have to do is move that body, baby. Move that body. Because it is the body and the mind and the spirit. It is a whole encompassing entity that will keep you and bless you and take you wherever you need to be. And you can roll these joints in public. You don't even have to be afraid that they're going to come after you. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. It is as Les Brown would say, a plump, pleasing pleasure as well as a privilege to be here with you this morning because it's snowing outside. It's very light snow, but it's cold. It is cold. It is cold. I have no intentions of going out there in it. If I do have to, I will, but I prefer to stay inside and do my higher learning hip roll. You be sure and tune in tomorrow for Self-Cell Care with Jody Susan. Cell, C-E-L-L? No.
Yes. Cell care.
Yeah. We know you love yourself. We all do, don't we?
Absolutely. Well, you know, when you love something, you do the best for it. So if you love your cells, you're going to give them what they need. You're going to give them enough air. You're going to give them enough water. You're going to give them the kind of healthy food that helps them to be able to regenerate life. So you got to love your cells. So yourself wants to take care of your cells. So
yes.
Go with our self-cell care. And you know, just learning that our bodies are designed to really take us to 120 years old. Mm-hmm. And not to be all broke down and decrepit with parts cut off and everything, but really to be basically still active and vibrant, still have physical intimacy, you know, without enhancements.
Right.
But if you live right, all your parts will still be working and you will enjoy life to the fullest up until you decide to exit.
That's what this 88-year-old lady told me at the gym, Naima. 88 years old. I looked at her and I see this elderly lady sitting on the floor doing all these incredible stretches. And I'm looking at her and I was like, how long you been doing this? She was like, oh, baby, I've been doing this all my life. And I said, that's why you look like you look and you can still do what you do now. And she said one thing that just always stuck in my mind. And she said, a body in motion stays in motion. So I want to stay in motion.
Right.
While we're doing the higher learning hip roll, baby.
That's right.
If you're watching us on social media on our YouTube channel, Higher Learning TV Show. If you're looking at us on Facebook, HLN TV. And also, I forgot Zelda Speaks. You can see us shifting from side to side. Now, those on the radio can't see us, but I'm telling you, we are slowly moving from side to side. This is not a contest, so we're not doing this. No, we're not jumping double dutch. We're not doing any of that. We're just going side to side, just to give the body just some movement. Because the body in motion does what?
Stays in motion.
Stays in motion.
I mean, how many people have sat all day at your computer? You get up your
all day.
I mean, and it hurts, your back hurts, your behind hurts. So this is to keep you from being in pain, because
And you get up and you can't move.
right.
And you wonder why.
And you wonder why. So you don't want to be old and bent over. And that's what people assume has to happen.
Yep.
Being old means you walk stiff, your knees hurt, and all of these things. But really, you can be just as bouncy in your walk and everything at 90, 95, 100. You really can. But you have to take the right care of your body. You have to have that self-cell care, because our cells are constantly regenerating. We're really not designed to die. We're designed to just keep regenerating. Your body keeps making new cells every year. And unless you do something to cause them to stop reproducing, they're going to keep making new cells. So everything from the moods that you're in to the amount of water you drink, all of those things will determine how well your cells reproduce.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't realize, and being energy beings, we are affected by the energy of other people. We were talking earlier about the importance of maintaining closeness. When you exchange energy, it's like anything else. When you give out something, you get something back. So this is why your physical touch is important. And the exchange of energy from another person who loves you is important. And good exchange is important. Not just being hit or struck in a way that causes pain, but a loving touch. I mean, some people are realizing how therapeutic massage is.
Girl, let me tell you.
Yes.
My husband does not understand. And I don't care how much I tell him, he just don't get it. The last Monday, this time at 4:00, I was at my chiropractor's office. Mm-hmm. And I'm seeing a doctor of physical therapy. And as I was on my way out the door, I mean, I was out, my IT band and quad was so tight. Ooh. He threw my leg over like I was a rag doll, and he stretched it so long and so hard. I was in so much pain. But baby, when I left that office, it dawned on me just what you said. The power of an energy exchange. He put his healing hands on my thigh and did his manipulation. And as I was standing at the counter on my way out the door, I had an epiphany. The power of the energy exchange.
Yeah.
Using his professional skills on the tissues and the muscles in my body that needed attention.
Yeah.
Because I'm sitting all day.
Yes.
And just for one moment, I said, wow, I'm in no pain. None. No pain. And it made me think about what you said about the senior citizens and people who live alone who don't have anybody to touch them. That's why hugging is so important.
So important.
They want to stop you from hugging and getting that powerful energy exchange.
Yeah.
Remind you to trust your gut, not the sick care system. Not the system that gives you pills and prescriptions and to keep coming back. I love therapy. But all that other, I'll continue to do the higher learning hip roll. That works good for me because the energy exchange, because the thoughts we think while we're, oh, look at the sun coming up. I love it. Bake me. Come on. Because I'm looking at snow in the sun. I've never seen that before. Have you? The sun and the snow at the same time.
Oh, look at how it glitters, how the snow glitters.
It's glittering. I just thought about that. Wow. But that energy, and we are a ball of energy, and we don't even know it because we're listening to the outside sources, and we forget to trust.
Right. We're connected to the universe. We're connected to the energy of the universe. We're connected to all life. All life is interconnected. So if you go out and you can get healing energy from hugging a tree, you probably heard that before, because
all the time on my daily walk. Yes, people look at me like I'm crazy. I could care less.
Trees are yes, I mean, trees are like the antenna of the planet, bringing cosmic energy. And so when you hug a tree, and the older the tree, the better, because trees contain so much wisdom. If we understood that everything is alive, everything has life force energy. So we're exchanging energy with everything. You're exchanging energy with the food that you eat. And just think about the fact that what you're consuming is something that's alive. And it's sharing its life force energy with you. And so you express gratitude. This is the whole history of saying grace, saying prayers before you eat. You're expressing the gratitude of those living beings that are sharing their life force energy with you and becoming you. Because if you eat an apple, after you've consumed the apple, it's not an apple, it's a human being. It's part of your tissues, part of your body. So you give gratitude. Thank you for sharing your life force energy with me. And when you have an attitude of gratitude, then the more you are grateful, the more you receive. And this is the whole law of abundance. When we perceive how much we have and we're grateful for what we have, we get more.
Yes, we do. Hallelujah. You know what, Naeem? I'm glad you said that, because when I eat an apple, I feel good about myself. But when I eat a bag of potato chips, I feel guilty. Because I know there's no life force in those dried up, probably baked in canola oil, one of the worst oils on the planet. And that's why there's so many heart attacks on Monday morning.
Well, be good to yourselves. Give yourself cell care. Give your cells live food. Because if our cells are regenerating life, they need life. They need life force energy. They need an energy exchange. So if we're giving them dead things, how are they going to produce life from death? It's the same thing. Life breeds life. Death does not breed life. So the more live food you eat, the better you're going to be able to regenerate life, because you're giving life force energy to your cells.
And that's all a process of loving yourself too. And that's one thing that my guest next week, a veteran mental health professional, Khalid Scott, will be talking about. Love hurts sometimes.
Now that should be interesting.
Should love hurt? Is it really love if it hurts? I'm saying, I don't know. What do you think? Well, tune in to find out.
Consider. I think love can hurt when you must tell someone
the truth
that's truthful that they're not ready to hear. But you love them enough to help them grow in ways they would not if they were not made aware of the truth. So it can hurt. And, I think we all think about how should we handle things. Say if we've got bad news to give to a friend, maybe a relationship that is not what they thought. And, it's better to know the truth and handle truth than to not know and be living with deception. Because then people can decide. Let's say if someone was in a trusted relationship with a business associate, and you happen to know that person was stealing from them, and they know, and they, were continuing to trust this person with money and decisions, and you decide, well, should I say nothing, or should I wait till they find out? But then by the time they find out, they might be destitute. So you decide to tell them. You love them enough to tell them, even though you know it will hurt, they'll be disappointed, they'll be sad, they'll be angry, but at least they can decide how they're going to handle it. They can decide, okay, I'm going to forgive this person, but discontinue our relationship, or I'm going to be angry at this person and do them physical harm. I mean, they can, but whatever they did, whatever they chose to do, it's their free will, and they will be able to see how evolved they are and how they handle a uncomfortable or a devastating situation. We need things to happen so that we can know where we are in our progress toward spiritual growth. So if something happens, how we respond is our barometer of where we are. Okay, have I grown in wisdom enough to know how not to lose myself, even though someone else has done something that has been hurtful to me? And it's just like, if someone says something nasty to you, do you ignore it or do you curse them out?
Mm-hmm.
You ignore them and you maintain your dignity, then that lets you know where you are. I love myself enough to keep my dignity. If you curse them out, that means I have chosen to let go of my dignity and put myself on a level where they are. So I'm really not any better than they are. I need to be better. Or you might feel, well, I felt good, I cussed them out. Okay, you did that, but then you issued negative energy into the atmosphere with your words. Is that really who you want to be as a person? So everything that happens as a test of where we are. Where we are in our understanding? Where are we in our wisdom? Where are we in our ability to be an example for other people who need to see an example of what a higher evolved being looks like? And all of us, we admire those people who always have it together, always calm, peaceful, nothing rattles them. Well, it took some experiences for them to get to that point of inner peace. You have to go through some things. You don't just, suddenly you got it all together. You had to go through some life challenges. You had to go through some epiphanies, as you say. You have to get some point of realization. And then when you go through something that takes you to the next highest level, then you can be an example for other people who then they can see how to handle a difficult situation. Oh, that store clerk just called her a bad name. She didn't turn around and cuss her out and everything. She just said, and bless you too, my sister.
Mm-hmm.
May whatever's troubling you be relieved. And I pray that God heal your heart. And walk out. And they said, wow, she didn't call her that B word back. She didn't throw some fruit upside her head. She didn't do any of that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe I won't do that next time somebody does that to me. I'll, as Michelle Obama says, when they go low, you go high. Because
Right.
that's the sign of an evolved being. No matter what someone else does, you don't lose your level. You don't lose your dignity. You don't lose your self-respect. You're still who you are. They can't change who you are by the way they behave. But that takes time to get to that point, because most of us, we always feel like we gotta, how dare you do that to me? I'll get you back. Well, why are you caring what this person does? What they do can't affect you. What they do doesn't reflect on you. It reflects on them.
The Karen Institute, the Karen incidents are a prime example of that.
Yes.
We promote that.
Yes.
Not we, but we as a people. It's like, okay, yeah, let's see what the next Karen is going to do.
And you got to look at, and I was having this conversation with, who was I talking to? I can't remember who I was talking to, but I remember what we realized. Oh, my sister, matter of fact, because we do our 3 Black Moms show every Sunday. Matter of fact, go to our YouTube channel, 3 Black Moms. We're really having fun during that show. But what we realized with people, particularly people who are racist and mean-spirited, they really are people who have low self-esteem.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And the false idea of being superior, that's all they have. So they cling to that, because without that, they have to look at the nothingness they really feel about themselves.
Mm.
They were told they were stupid, they were ugly, they were ignorant, all of these things. And that's what they feel on the inside. So if they can look at some dark-skinned person and say, well, those people are lesser than me, so I'm going to do something so I feel better about myself. I'm going to degrade them some kind of way, and then I'll feel better about myself. That's what motivates that behavior. Because people who have healthy self-esteem, you'll never see them behaving that way. You won't see racism in them because they don't need it. They don't need to pretend to be better than somebody because they're comfortable with who they are. Only the people who have low self-esteem are Karens. Those who seek to find a way to publicly humiliate somebody or degrade them because they don't love themselves. That's what that is. And when you know that that's what it is, then it can't affect you because you're seeing self-hatred. I don't care what you say to me. You can't change what I feel about myself because I love myself. But I'll see that you don't love yourself because you need to try to degrade me. You need to do that to feel better about yourself. I don't feel hatred for you. I feel compassion because I know where that emotion is coming from. Someone damaged your self-esteem somewhere in your life. And so you're thinking you're going to feel better about yourself by trying to make me feel bad. That's what your problem is.
Oh,
so it doesn't reflect me, it reflects you. Bless you, my sister.
You just ran right through that 3 Black Moms, and I just pulled it up here on YouTube, and I want to insert that because I think it's people need to see exactly what you're talking about. So I'm gonna pull up the 3 Black Moms YouTube page and play that. So if you don't mind, here we go.
Oh, okay.
Hi, I'm Barbara. I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Naima. We're 3 Black Moms.
And in case you didn't notice the resemblance, we're also 3 sisters. We're going to be coming to you every week, sharing our successes and our mistakes as we navigate our lives as moms, wives, sisters, daughters, and of course, Black women in today's world.
We'll talk about it all: race, politics, religion, economics, culture, and we'll take a look at everything from whether or not to use corporal punishment to how do you teach your children about sex.
Look for our upcoming book, Growing Up Charles. It's a personal story about our lives growing up in Maple Park on Chicago's South Side. I'm Barbara. I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Naima. We're 3 Black Moms. Follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel, 3 Black Moms.
Oh, wow. I love that. I said, that is too cute. I love that promo. I'm like, no, she didn't race right through that, talking about 3 Black Moms on YouTube. No, baby, we need to see that. And we also need to hear from our callers. We're going to go to the phone lines, 847 and 312. We'll be right back with you right after a quick message. So you stay close right here on The Female Solution.
I'm Beata, your holistic life coach. These days, it's more important than ever to work on your physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health. Are you consciously breathing deeply in stressful moments? Do you have a plan or daily routine to maintain balance in your awesome body? Are you struggling to be disciplined in your eating habits? When you partner with me, I'll help you develop a personalized health plan that works for your particular lifestyle. You can find out more about me at yourholisticlifecoach.com, where you can also review my 3-step protocol to guide you to abundant health. That's yourholisticlifecoach.com, and I'm Beata.
Do you or your organization need space for an event? Call the Corey Event Center at 2423 East 75th Street in Chicago for your parties, banquets, award ceremonies, repasses, concerts, and business seminars. Available 7 days a week. Now under new management. Call us at the Corey at 773-663-2557. That's 773-663-2557.
Everything you need, what your body needs, is found in nature. So Susan Essentials doesn't do it any other way. Susan Essentials provides your employees and individuals access to over 20,000 nutritional products and they are shipped direct to your door. Because Tucson Essentials is certified in plant-based healing, we're committed to offer you the best nutritional supplements on the planet. They're non-GMO and sustainably produced, and we take the guesswork out for you. Let Tucson Essentials help you take control of your health today. You worry about finances, family, health, job, relationships? Are you in pain? Do you feel stuck? If you answer yes to any of these questions, help is available. Don't worry, you're not alone. It's part of the human process. You only feel this way because you haven't mastered the voices in your head. No hype, just down to earth, solid, workable tools and techniques that you can practice daily. It's really food for the soul. Whether you want to learn how not to worry about anything, reverse type 2 diabetes, publish a book, promote the product or service, or just make extra money. To take advantage of the deal of the day, go to wellnesspeaks.com or call 312-409-6649. Mention promo code The Female Solution and get free shipping. Like wellnesspeaks.com or 312-409-6649. Stop worrying today. Visit wellnesspeaks.com.
And the power of joint rolling is the topic of conversation today here on The Female Solution. 515-605-9325. Press 1 to speak as we go to the phone lines. 847-738. You're live on The Female Solution. Grand Rising, what's your name? Where are you calling from? And what's your comment?
Grand Rising. Good morning, ladies. How are you? It's Jody Tucson.
Jody Susan, self-centered. Hey, Jody, how are you, my dear?
I am good. How are you? You guys look beautiful online.
Oh, thank you, my sister. You see, we're doing the higher learning hip roll this morning.
Yeah, and I'm like, no girl.
Everybody who sits, anybody who has a tush needs to sit. Oh, and I want to tell you, Jody, your friend, your first interview last week, Stephanie Hunter of the Hunter Method. I have been practicing it, and it is as good or better than my own chiropractor. I only say that because of the experiences that I'm having, the movements that she gave me. I feel a lot better, I hate to say it, than going to the doctor.
Well, I mean, it is what it is.
I'll say it's.
That's just it. I mean, so it's an opportunity for people to practice self-care.
Self-care. Yes. I'm not going to say better. I'm going to say equal, because I enjoy the kneading of the hands of the doctor, of the massage therapist and the doctor. But there's nothing like having it available to you at home immediately when you're in pain and you know how to do self-care with your own hands. So yeah. So thank you. It doesn't
always have to be an either or. It can be a both and, but it is important to. What if you don't have anybody else? You do need to know
right.
How to do yourself.
Open it Saturday night, right?
What was that? What was that about Saturday night?
Well, I mean, you're sitting at home, let's say on a Saturday night.
Yeah.
Have pain.
Yeah.
They're not open.
No.
The phones are available.
No, you're right.
Suffer till Monday morning, but you can go.
Right.
You have to
wind up in the emergency room, and they only gonna give you some pills and some muscle relaxants.
After you sit there for 5 hours.
Right. Or 12 hours or 24 hours.
Right.
Right now, they don't even want you in the emergency room. So I want to thank you, Jody, for having Stephanie Hunter of the Hunter Method on. I felt it immediately. It's not like I had to wait. I was halfway through the treatment and I got up to walk and I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, this works. How come my doctor don't know about the Hunter Method? Okay, I got to tell him.
And you know, that's what I'm hoping, the information that we bring, I'm hoping that people who are in the healthcare field will go ahead and choose to grow into greater knowledge. If the intention really is to heal, and someone brings something that works, that they've discovered or created or developed, then I'm hoping that these are methods that those who are going into the medical field can start learning. Right now, what people learn when they go into medicine, all they do is learn how to prescribe pills to medicate pain
And
but they're not getting healing. And that's what our so-called healthcare system, which is sick care, it needs to evolve into actual healing, where you can go and at some point, like your guest was saying, you know, at some point I need for you not to need me. And that's
right.
should be the objective, not, oh, okay, I got this client for the next 10 years. I'm gonna be able to pay off my house note. That it should be
Right.
after
Or yacht or send my kids.
yeah, or I can send my children to college. They're gonna be paying, they're gonna be coming to me for the next 30 years.
Right.
Instead of them doing that, the objective should be, I'm going to teach them things that will help them heal themselves and no longer need to go to a doctor. That's what should be the objective.
Self care. Jody, I don't know how you came up with that, but that is phenomenal. Self care.
You know how I came up with that?
I do.
Divine.
Yes, I do. Yes.
Inspiration.
Divine, baby.
Yes.
You sound like
Divine.
you sound like the divine Miss M. And for those who don't know, I'm sorry, the divine Miss. Well, it is divine Miss M. The Bette Midler.
Oh.
Here about 10 years ago at the United Center. Bette Midler ain't nothing to play with, honey. They call her the divine Miss M.
Oh
Miss
my.
Midler. So that's self care.
She's a powerful woman.
Yes, she is.
Like my mom used to. My mom loves Bette Midler, and I think she was actually is into a lot of the same things as myself in terms of understanding that there are past lives that we can hold on. With the issues that are in the tissues, they're passed on from generations, and we're not talking about the genetics, we're talking about the trauma. That's why another reason we use self here, because we have trauma that's embedded in our tissues. And they may be from your lifetime, they could be from one of your ancestors' lifetime, you have passed on to your mother through the vaginal canal. So. But I wanted to talk about Love Hurts. Can we go back to that?
Okay. Love Hurts sometimes by veteran mental health professional Khalid Scott, who will be joining us next Monday morning on Monday Morning Mindfulness. Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. So please, and I have permission to share this, and I'm going to do a Facebook Live post, and so I'll do that as well. But this is actually really transformational in my thinking. And so I suspect that, there's an opportunity for other people to learn about this as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a boyfriend, and he has transformed his life. He has converted to eating all organic food, filtered water, takes vitamins, has reclaimed his health. And he is a TBI survivor. TBI is traumatic brain injury. Not only did he have a car accident, hit smack dab in the head, and in a coma for 4 days, and had to, start over as a 16-year-old, but on top of that, when he was like in his 20s, he got punched in the eye and lost the sight in his right eye.
Oh, wow.
It's on your brain, right?
Wow.
So what piece? Yeah, it's right. I mean, that's a lot. So here we are. There were certain, and I'm not going to get into all the details, but I really want people to listen up because this is huge. Okay, this is huge. There were certain behaviors that he kept on doing that were not positive. And he kept on promising to modify those behaviors, and he did not. So when you look at his track record over the last few years, all he did was make a promise and keep the promise. He kept on doing things he could control. He could control what he was eating. He could control what he was drinking and blah, blah, blah. But he couldn't control what was coming out of his mouth. And I'm here to tell you why. Yeah, I'm here to tell you why. So, audience, look up basal ganglia. So that's a part of the brain.
Spell it, Jody.
Measure motions.
I
think it's B-A-S-A-L, like basal, B-A-S-A-L, ganglia. G-A-N-G-A-N-G-L-I-A. Basal ganglia.
Okay.
He had a scan done called the SPECT scan, S-P-E-C-T, by Amen Clinic. And it shows that the basal ganglia was overactive, like on fire. Wow. It controls your motor skills, your circulation, your speech, your memory. It controls a lot. Okay? So he would say something and not even remember it a second later.
Wow.
Whoa.
Okay? Yeah. Now, I want to tell you, this is familiar to me. And here's why. That used to be me as a young child when I hit my head on the concrete. I was at a stable. I was in the stall, the horse stall. The horse had dug out a hole where you walk.
I have to stop and tell you guys.
And I tripped over and hit my head on the concrete. There was never a fight that I had with my sister that I could win. I couldn't remember anything I was saying.
Wow. So that was a neurological damage that you didn't realize you had. And a lot of times people will do things and they're totally erratic, and we never think, is it possible neurological damage? I've had that happen to me where somebody just went off on me for no reason at all. And I was distressed, and then I found out they had a mini stroke. And I mean, because I was just sad and really distraught because they just out of nowhere, just became very hostile and said all these awful things, and I felt so bad, and I didn't find out till 2 weeks later that they had a stroke, and that was a neurological thing that you never think that could be what it is.
I found a video on YouTube, but I want to share that with our viewing audience. It's a 2-minute neuroscience indirect pathway of nasal ganglia. So thank you for calling in, for sharing that information, Jody. I'm going to play that now.
Okay, thank you.
And
the indirect pathway is a circuit in the basal ganglia hypothesized to play a role in the inhibition of movement. If you're not already familiar with the direct pathway of the basal ganglia, you might want to watch my video on the direct pathway before you watch this video. The indirect pathway model involves GABA neurons that project from the external segment of the globus pallidus to a region called the subthalamic nucleus. These globus pallidus neurons typically exert an inhibitory effect on glutamate neurons in the subthalamic nucleus. But when the indirect pathway is activated by signals from the cerebral cortex, this causes the activation of GABA neurons in the striatum, which project to the globus pallidus external and inhibit the activity of neurons there. This keeps the globus pallidus external neurons from being able to inhibit neurons in the subthalamic nucleus. The subthalamic nucleus neurons are activated by projections from the cortex, and they stimulate GABA neurons in the globus pallidus internal segment and substantia nigra pars reticulata. These GABA neurons in turn project to the thalamus, inhibiting thalamic neurons that travel to motor regions of the cerebral cortex to stimulate movement. The inhibition of these thalamic neurons thus inhibits movement. This activity in the indirect pathway is thought to antagonize the activity of the direct pathway and act to keep unwanted movements from occurring. Neurons from the substantia nigra pars compacta travel to the striatum via the nigrostriatal pathway, and they can modulate the activity of the indirect pathway through dopamine release in the striatum. One effect of this seems to be the inhibition of activity in the indirect pathway, which leads to the facilitation of movement. This is thought to be one reason why dopamine depletion in disorders like Parkinson's disease may lead to difficulties initiating movement.
Wow. Neurochallenge.com.
Yeah, and so that takes me to what we're going to talk about tomorrow, if you don't mind me sharing.
Please.
So tomorrow I have a doctor, Dr. Laura Kiles. She works with, well, she's a naturopath and she's several other things, but she works with frequency-specific microcurrents. It's the future of medicine. And she can actually pinpoint any part of the brain and handle any part of the body using the frequency microcurrent. She actually did a grid on the brain, and she's been testing different parts to get specific results, like specific, frequency-specific microcurrent for specific results. Which means all of these things are reversible.
Thank God for that.
So thank God. And just so you know, this technology was around 100 years ago when it got shelved.
It's been hidden. They don't want us to know any help about self-healing. Oh no, you need to depend on the medical system. Oh no, you can't do that. You'll put us out of money. Oh no, we don't need 100 billion. We need 1,100 billion. No. We can't.
Well, this is why we have to change the intention behind the healthcare system. As long as it's money driven, they're not going to allow students who want to be healers and doctors and physicians to learn the new ways of helping people reverse illnesses. I mean, cancer has been cured a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
So has every other disease, but people aren't being allowed to know it because they are too valuable to the healthcare system that depends on them buying medications and being repeat customers for pharmaceutical companies. So the things that we shouldn't even be suffering from, we suffer from because somebody gets paid. And this is what I look forward to us seeing in the future, because we're sharing this information. I look forward to people who want to go into medicine to seek out those innovators of new ways of healing, as opposed to the traditional medical schools that are basically teaching you how to use chemicals to keep people sick.
Right. Oops, sorry.
Yeah, is it healthcare or sick care? Right?
Sick care.
Healthcare or sick care, choose.
That's what we have.
It is 8:52. Let's try to get a couple of more calls in here before we leave. Area code 312-823. Jody, I'll leave your line open. 312-823. You're live on the Female Solution. Grand Rising. What's your name? Where you calling from? And what's your comment as it relates to the power of rolling those joints?
Rolling joints.
My name is P. I'm calling from Chicago, and I'm interested in knowing if when you all have your women down table, could you have a behavior scientist or someone that can deal with different phobias such as masophobia, agoraphobia, where people fear drugs, especially the masophobia, the fear of drugs, because I know it's really expounds on now since we have the pandemic. So if we could have a round table, they can start some treatment because people fear everything.
Yes.
And well, that's a great question. I actually.
Okay, Jody's going to answer your question, Rashida.
Yeah, so I have a device that helps with phobias. It was created by Dr. Wallace, who I believe is going to be on the air with us on February 23rd.
Mm-hmm.
And I can confirm that date later. But he created a device called the BOD, Bioacoustical Utilization Device, and it's a headset. and it basically does a reset on the neural network of the brain, meaning whatever triggers your fear, the trigger goes away. So
Wow.
you see a germ, you're no longer triggered by the germ. You see somebody who reminds you of somebody who you don't like, you remember it, but you're not triggered, you're not reactive to it. It's a powerful place to be. We've also used it to reverse allergy. So I reversed 135 different food sensitivities. People are using it for just about anything because everything's housed in the brain, and that's what we're working with, the brain. Does that help you with your question?
It is 8:54. What was the date again on that, Jody? Did you say the 23rd? Did you say?
I think it's the 23rd. I'm checking my calendar right now. Yeah, he's going to be on Tuesday, February 23rd.
Okay. And I'm glad you said that and spoke on the BOD, because I want to thank you for allowing me to have the experience of the BOD, because everybody who knows me knows I've been wearing glasses all my life, and I have a sensitivity to light. And I'm sitting here staring at this light right now, and I have no issues with the light in my eyes, because light it sometimes gave me a headache, but I couldn't see, I couldn't function. Bright light always, all my life has hurt my eyes, and I came to your office and I had that bald experience, and it freaked me out because it's like the light didn't hurt my eyes anymore. So I am a testimony that this bald experience works. So thank you for allowing me to have that experience. I can't wait till the next one. But we're going to try to get a couple of more calls in here before we leave. It's 8:55. And also, I want to share, you talked about housing. That's housing of the body, of the mind, and of the spirit. And those who are living on the street who do not have that available to them. So I just want to share very briefly. This is a 2-minute video that I want to share, where it talks about this upcoming event that I'm having for my little brother who was murdered in Tent City a couple of years ago. So I just want you to watch this video. For the past several years, Douglas Robinson has lived in Tent City, an encampment of homeless people near Taylor Street and Roosevelt Road, and right off the Dandelion. Tent City is in Chicago, Illinois. A warm, caring, deeply spiritual Douglas Robinson was murdered on Monday, February 18, 2019, shot and killed by another resident. Argument over a heater led to the shooting.
We need housing for the homeless, because my little brother, which we're doing this documentary for, Douglas Robinson, your death will not be in vain.
He's a heck of a great dude. I love Doug. Doug loved me.
Just being around him, he had a good spirit. He was a healing person.
They are there.
Get SRO staff.
When you give to the poor,
should not be forced out of their neighborhoods when it goes through a period of transformation.
And that's just the story of one homeless man. There are millions of homeless people. Douglas was a man who loved himself, his family, and it showed in his artwork. And he was a fashion designer too. Homeless people are human people too. And that's our family. He's known as the light bright man.
Home for the homeless. Because there are too many people who are losing their homes to taxes because they can't pay $1,000 tax bill.
Homelessness is hazardous to your health. And that video is on YouTube. You can see it on our channel, Higher Learning TV Show. That's youtube.com, Higher Learning TV Show. And I'm asking everyone who is within earshot listening to the show on blogtalkradio.com, the Female Solution, and our YouTube channel. Please make a donation for the homeless. We're accepting donations at the higherlearningnetwork.org. It's all donations are tax deductible. We're gathering money for generators and air mattresses. So
Now, I have a question. If people are in the business, say if they are companies that have heaters and mattresses, can they donate that items?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And we may have come to the end of the show, but we are not at the end of taking your calls. So if you're on the line and you want to say something, please press 1 right now, because at 9 o'clock the show is off and we won't be able to get to your call. So let's go to the phone lines. 515-605-9325. Press 1 to speak as I open up the microphone for 706-202. You're live on the Female Solution. Grand Rising. What's your name? Where you're calling from? And what's your comment as it the power of joint rolling this morning? Unmute yourself. 706-202.
Order our books and be sure to get your copy of the book, The Female Solution.
706-202.
Oh, they might have to wait till after the ending.
Is that what's going on? Oh, it won't open. It'll
open. But they gotta make sure they're unmuted though. They might have their
I do believe that's Elder Kwame Sunhope. If that is 706-202, please unmute your mic if you want to comment. In the meantime, in between time, this Friday. Oh, there he is. Yes. Greetings, Brother Baba, Elder Kwame Sunhorse. Thank you for joining us this morning.
And then thank you for being on us this Wednesday for our men only roundtable discussion. As always, it was very insightful and enlightening. We learned so much from these elders, and we're going to definitely hook them up with younger men who need to just listen and learn so they can make the kind of life choices that will enhance our future families. So thank you so much for sharing your wisdom.
Well, thank us for the solution. You, as the female, are the innovators and the conceiver of what we need to be doing. And so I'm grateful for all of you on Female Solutions.
Thank us.
The thing that thank us, but I missed it. And I know you had the chiropractor, and I think that was what Rihanna said last night you were going to have on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and my question.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, the question was.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Unfortunately, our chiropractor wasn't here today. His father's in the hospital and he had an emergency and he could not attend this morning. So Naima filled in for him. So we're sitting here doing the higher learning hip roll.
Okay.
How you can
self cell care.
Right. You work on your back, your buttocks, and all of it.
Yes, sir.
But in raising that part of chiropractic, because Life College is here in Georgia and Marietta, and that's where most chiropractors go to school.
Really?
But the founder of it, yes, and the founder of Life College, the way he became really known for the work of chiropractic was a black man that was blind.
Oh!
To work on him. And when he readjusted his spine, his sight came back.
Wow.
And that was the way in which chiropractic became a tool for healing.
Wow.
And, Jody was talking about the machine that helps to rewire the neural net. But they're plants. This is what ayahuasca does. This is what Tibonge does. This is what certain plant medicines that have DMT. And they rewire the brain, and especially for addicts. And this is something that the FDA won't allow in because it's better than medication. It's better than methadone and all these And the thing that, and I'm grateful that you're now putting someone there that to help at the cellular level, because what we're needing to do, we're being attacked at the DNA level now, the genome, and even the cellular level has already been, attacked by the GMOs. So what we're seeing now is the battle for the human gene, and this is what the shot and these nanoparticles are doing, is to attack the human at the gene level now. So it's a challenge that we're now having, because there's a prophecy with the Choctaw said that the children of two shields would have, the red and the black would have to come back together. And using these two things in the natural and the spiritual to reconnect that, and honor you about your brother and the thing that you did by going there to the space where he was killed at, is that you have to clear the energy of where that murder took place at. And that's what EJI has done with the 4,400 lynchings that were done around America. They go to the spot where the person was lynched. And they do a ceremony, and then they take a little of the earth, and they take that earth and they put it in the museum, and they have the lynching museum there in Montgomery, Alabama.
Wow.
And so we have to begin to do the ritual in order for the spiritual essence of us to come back to our higher self.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that. And also, thank you so very much for sharing the information that you sent me over the weekend that I wanted to share with our listening and viewing audience about the cell hand. Well, that's what I call it. I already played one video, but I want to share another one, and it's called, I call it the cell hand, the one that you sent. Nope, that's not it. Give me a second to find it. You want to comment, Naima, while I find this right quick?
Well, when he speaks of energy healing, as we said, we're all energy beings, and we are leaving an energetic signature everywhere we go and with every act we perform. So if you've ever bought a house where maybe the people who used to live there, maybe they fought a lot, maybe there were acts of violence, maybe they divorced because of anger, you are going to have to, as Brother Kwame says, you're going to have to do some things to change the energy.
Sorry? Will you call me? You mean telephone me? Yes. When? Now. But you're sitting right here. This is why I wanted to have lunch. You just phone me. Now? Hello, Bethany speaking. Hello. You phoning for Bethany? Yes. What are you doing? This is Bethany. Can you hear me? Well, you're right in front of me. But can you hear me down the phone? Oh my gosh. This is me. On the phone, I had it implanted. My hand is the phone. I can walk and talk because I'm on the phone inside my hand. I am the phone. This is what phones are going to be from now on. I have integrated. Thank you for your call. Subdermal implants. They charge themselves with motion like a self-winding watch. And it's on the 22 network. I get signal across 95% of UK mainland, 98 by next year. When I phoned you, it was ringing. You were ringing. That's the speaker. So small. Okay, but when did you get this done? That course in Winchester. I had one finger done every night. I still need to use a handset to phone out. Look. Hello. Hi. Okay, but look, I can't believe you had surgery without telling me. Skin plants, not surgery, and I knew you'd be cross. But I'm 18, and you had that tattoo when you were 18, and it's the same sort of thing. And I wanted to ask you, will you do me a favor? What? Will you tell Dad? Oh, sweetheart. Please, will you tell Dad for me?
Now, how's that for? Ah,
Well, those who may be biblical students, you know that we were warned eons ago not to have anything implanted in our skin, and the whole mark of the beast thing. I mean, so people who are able to foresee or have been able to, I guess you would look at it as time travel, travel to another dimension of time and space and see something. They describe what they see. And many people now are deciphering those warnings as being foretelling of chip implants that would be control technology. And there are those who are saying even this current push to get a vaccine is to allow doctors to implant control technology in our system. And so you can find discussions about it all over the internet. Some people are discounting that, and some are saying, no, this is why they're pushing so hard for this vaccine. This is why they had the concentrated fear tactics and propaganda to scare everybody, and that's why they're doing this daily death count to scare you so that you would be afraid, so you would unquestioningly take the vaccine. So next thing you know, you're implanted with a control chip. So everything that happens there, the interesting thing is nothing is inevitable, because there's always an alternative reality based on the decisions that you make. Now, there will be those who will think, oh, this is a great thing. I don't have to have a device. I can have it implanted. You have people who have had their dogs implanted with a chip and say, well, this is a good thing, because if they get found, then they can scan them and find all my information. That was a precursor to people thinking, oh, I can implant my child with a chip, because then if they get lost, then they can be found. So it's any kind of control technology, anything implanted in your body that is not native to your body is not going to be helpful to your body. But for people who aren't aware, they may choose to do that. And then they will be subjected to the effects of that. But now there's an alternative reality. And this is where the people who are aware are evolving to. We as a species have the capacity, because we're all connected, for telepathic communication where we don't need a phone. But in order to reach that point, you have to be evolved to the higher conscious state where you're not full of anger, fear, resentment, all the negative vibrations that keep you at a low level where you cannot access your natural abilities. So at some point in our future, we will not need cell phones. We will not need telephones. We'll be able to communicate directly, mind to mind, heart to heart, soul to soul. We'll be able to exchange thought without a device for those who are aware and working on themselves to get to that point where they can regain those skills. Those who are subjecting themselves to the fear-based teachings, they will go in the direction of people who choose to get control technology implanted in their skin. So as we kind of split in terms of those who are aware and evolving and becoming free from fear and taking control of their lives, and those who are under the control of the brainwashing, we're seeing the difference. We're seeing the split in the aware and the unaware. And both realities will exist for whatever your choice is that you make. You're going to experience the consequence of your choice.
And could I, and Naima, you hit it on the head, because the thing is fear. We always say fear is falsely evading actual reality, but it's frequency energy altering reset.
Oh,
that
frequency
is our natural
energy.
ability, because our frequencies are altered. and we're energy, frequency, energy, alter, reset. Because you come onto the planet because through the womb being developed in water, your whole body is a vessel of energy. You're a receiver, and plus you're crystallized. And that's why when we sweat, we have like the little salt crystals because we're crystalline, and that's what they use for technology. The earth transmits and receives, and the downloading and programming comes from the sun, the planets, the stars, and the moon, because it says, let there be light. And he named the sun, the moon, the stars, the signs, and the seasons. All of that has energy in which programs into the earth that which is most needed for our conscious connection. And so once we lost that, and then they began to use other methodologies of fear and being able to turn your frequency off and be able to interfere with your frequency by creating what we used to use when we created the first radio with the crystal and catgut. In order to vibrate that crystal to pick up the electronic energy that was going. But what even in the biblical, it says the mark of the beast, 3 6s. And 3 6s is the 6 opens up the barcode, identifies the barcode with information, and then the other 6 closes it. But the actual 366 is 6 electrons, 6 neutrons, and 6 protons. These are the energies that is in us as beings to become our higher cosmic self, because we all come from stardust, as Carl Sagan says. We're just stardust formed into a body, so we can take a look at ourselves at night when we want to see it.
Wow. I need you to say that again, what you said about the 666, the electrons, protons, and neutrons. Can you repeat that again, please?
Right. The mark of the beast, when she was saying that in the biblical. And it is the Bible is the Helios Biblios. It's the sun book. It tells about the actual things of our solar system. But the mark of the beast is 666. Barcodes and creating barcodes. You can find it on the internet. I'll send you a thing where I sent it to be out last night.
Okay.
But it opens with a 6. It identifies with the 6, or whatever identifier is in there is with the 6 code, and then it closes with a 6. So it's the 666. See, we've gone from Jim Crow, which was the system of law and in captivity, to now we've gone to Jim Code, the algorithms, the barcode.
Jim Code, like that.
Yeah.
Jim Crow to Jim Code.
Yep. Jim Crow to Jim Code. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Right on point. Wow. Because in biblical terms, we've always been taught that 666 was the mark of the devil.
But we want to decipher what it meant. And
Revelation talks about what? Armageddon.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
You look at the word. You're getting a vaccine in the arm and you're getting chipped.
Oh.
The arm is getting.
Wow.
Fascinating.
Wow. I'm writing this down. Wow. Now that's a very powerful statement there. Wow.
So we have, but with the words are spelled, and in them using the words, they give us what it is that's going on, and this is the whole part of it. You know, because the 4 horsemen is the 4 races.
See, the unfortunate thing is that you will find people, the more officially educated they are, the more degrees they have, the more programming they're susceptible to, because they've already been programmed to think like people who are controlling them or trying to control people. So they've already been programmed not to question or to believe that people with titles are the ones that have all the knowledge. And so, you look for, well, let's see what the experts say. Well, the experts are people who have been already conditioned not to question because they've been institutionalized. They've been through the institutions that are designed to teach conformity to current thought. So even when we seek knowledge and someone like, Baba Kwame brings something that is not widely stated, if we're looking for validation from people who are officials, that's probably not going to happen because they've already been conditioned to discount anything that doesn't sound like the status quo. And so that's where you have to trust your inner being. You have to go to your inner knowing. You have to get quiet and breathe and listen, because that's where this truth is validated in your own soul. If you look for somebody, some official person saying, oh yeah, we're doing this to you, oh yeah, that's happening, that's not going to happen. They're not going to tell you that. So you have to know that there is an answer, but it's to be found with them, because the source of all knowledge is available to all of us, and all we have to do is get quiet and ask.
That's why it's called mother wit, because the mother has the mitochondrial DNA. She has the original coding of all human life. And what we look at, and you're talking about the degrees and the brick and mortar institutions that houses information. But what that is that they are taking and programming you because you pass a test and you have to regurgitate that which they're giving you to
right.
How to think. But education is a Latin word which is induspore. Induspore means to bring out, not to put in.
That's right.
The soul is not teachable. In the African tradition, it says the Sunsum and the Okra. Okra is the creator. The Sunsum is the soul. The soul is not teachable. It already knows the program that it came with when it conceived and it grew the body. And it's moving through life with it. If you can grow your fingernails, your every line in your hand, every hair on your head, you grew that in the womb. And how is it that you can have to look outside of yourself to find that which you've grown from yourself?
That's right. Your life force spirit has all that you need to create all that you need. And if our education institutions, if our educators were allowed to know this, then the way they would approach teaching would be totally different. But as Bob Kwame's saying, the thing about it is that school is made such a traumatic experience for our children, where they're made to feel like they're ignorant and unworthy, and they're given useless information and then forced to memorize it. And if they don't memorize it and write it down on a test, then they're called less intelligent. And so all of the genius that we have among our children gets suppressed and thrown away by teachers who were taught at institutions that didn't teach them how to get out of the child what's in them, but to forcibly put something in them that is of no value or very little value to their own growth and evolution. And that is also what has to change. So when we look at the future of what Mother Earth will look like when evolved beings create the kinds of systems that enhance life, learning will be fun for children because they will be able to explore and discover and create. And rather than be forced to memorize old, outdated, useless concepts and lies about what happened in the past and information that makes them feel as if they're descendant from inferior people and all of the other lies, all of that will be gone. And instead, what they will have is an education which helps to bring out of them their natural intelligence and brilliance, and they'll be able to explore the universe and develop all kinds of concepts of travel, of transportation, of healing, because they'll be allowed to learn the truths that we're discovering, as opposed to the things that would be helping but are being suppressed because they're not profitable to somebody who wants to keep us ignorant so they can make money off of us.
Mm-hmm.
Once we get rid of that incentive for profiting off of people's pain, then we can open the door for all growth and development of the human species.
Right, but that's a good point, because economics basically is three basic things. Is that number one, you have to have Mother Earth. You have to have the earth and the resources that come from it. You have to have the people that know how to work with the earth to get the resources from the earth in order, and then you have to have the management of what is taken from the earth. And that is the basis of economics. And if we look at it, all the incentives that we were having to create because we were the labor force used to work the earth, and the essence is that how is it that we didn't have the degrees, but we created engineering of the cotton gin and the traffic light and all of these other tools that we use in order that was already in us. That was something that wasn't just found. It didn't drop out the sky. It was in us. It was born in that child when it began to have to suffer, and they thought of a new way to stop their own suffering.
Mm.
So we did more in colored schools than we did in Ivy League schools.
Mm. Say that.
Because when we look at what the mother, and this is why it was so important to take the child from the mother, because the mother gives the mother wit to the child. She knows and sees that child and all its possibilities. That's what was inside of her that she has a connection to, and the only thing that happens when a child comes out is looking into the mother's eyes,
Mm-hmm.
where the two souls connect.
Mm-hmm.
Because everything else was programmed that the child knows, and so the child will attempt to please that mother because of evolution. It means know what you love. He knows it loves this person, and it will do all the things possible for it to do to make that mother proud.
All right now. Well, we can definitely count on making that mother proud, and and being in control of the education that we first learn at home before we learn anywhere else, because mothers are the first teachers of all the students on the planet. So
absolutely. And that's one of the things that kind of motivated me to work on this next book that I'm writing, entitled Spare the Rod, Love the Child. There's a whole way of teaching that does not involve fear, pain, degradation, or destruction of the spirit of a child, the way we've been doing because we didn't know any better. But as Brother Kwame is saying, the encouragement from your mother that's your incentive to do what you do, to strive. And what we've been using is fear of pain, believing that we had to use a negative as opposed to using positive reinforcement. And because the desire to learn is already inside a child, they come here with a soul memory, they come here with a purpose. We can shape them in ways that is not damaging to them if we have wisdom on how to do it. And when we observe behavior in them, rather than us in our ignorance calling it bad, we will recognize that what they're trying to do is learn. And so we'll respond to them with giving them opportunities to learn. We can keep them safe, but allow them to learn and explore. And the most powerful thing a child has is their imagination, because you create with your mind. So once we have knowledge as mothers, then we can encourage the visions of our children, and we can encourage them in ways that are loving, so that they will not be living with the fear of pain for trying to explore and they will not be then put into a school system that crushes their spirit and teaches them that they're ignorant if they don't memorize some things that have no value to them in the first place.
Right.
Everything, once we get the knowledge of how to guide a soul to its greatest height, then we'll see a change in the world. That's the thing that we talk about on the Female Solution every day. You know, there's a new generation coming to earth through us. If we guide them right, then we will see them create a world where people can live together in peace.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and then this is the part, because we're going through a new evolution, and evolution is, when you spell it backwards, it says, know it you love. When you know what you love, you create the greatest form, that love.
Love.
And that's for Mother Earth, that's for the mother that birthed you. And it's that part of overstanding, and this is the part of changing that frequency that the system is set up, and to train you and drain you is what they look at. Because that's what they do. Because you look at something, look at the words in which we use, because weak days, W-E-A-K makes you weak, and D-A-Z-E makes you days. You're not doing, and it's just like when you say time, it means T-I, tie me, bind me. So I can't spell the word backwards. Emit. I can't emit my own creativity. I can't emit what's in me, because you tie me to time.
Oh wow! Always brings it home. Oh, I love it. I never looked at weekdays as we're weak and we're in a daze. You hit that nail right on the head. Oh my goodness.
Ah, yes, the power of the word.
Thank you, Baba. Kwame Sunhorse, always bringing home right here on the Female Solution. Thank you so very, very much for the energy and the insight. This could go on forever. It's like, do we have to end now? My goodness, such a.
That's the power of the word. And
yes,
that's what we have to understand. Words are energy.
Yes,
words are God. And once you use how do you use your God force? Because even when you say imagination, you have to take that thought and make an image in your mind to see what you want to make happen in the flesh. Or you want to see it and outside of you. That's what the image, that's why a child's imagination should not be hindered.
Absolutely.
That's another reason for the image board too, the vision boards.
Right.
Is that you need to see physically what it is that you want in your physical environment. Yeah.
That's right. You're creating with your mind every moment.
But that's why they call it television. It tells you the vision of what they want you to see.
Yeah.
Right.
I was called television. It's telling you the vision of what they want you, just like we see our children there and all over is killing each other. It's because the television, the games in which they now project onto the television, is now has inundated them over 25,000. Before they even become an adolescent, they've seen simulated murders on television.
Yes.
They feel that it is okay to take life.
Yes.
That's the vision.
Yes.
And so this is why virtual reality, it's virtual. They are creating a falsified image. They're taking your imagination and putting into a frequency that alters your birthright of creation.
When we did a show on Three Black Moms yesterday, we taped a show, will be on YouTube soon, about how do you protect your child's innocence. And we talked about being aware of the things that you're subjecting your child's brain to. You have these 4-year-olds sitting in front of a television, as he says, simulated murders. What is going into that child's mind? How are they being programmed? You're programming them to accept killing, to accept murder, and you're looking at it as entertainment. I mean, that's no better than the people during the time of the Roman gladiators, where you have everybody in an arena watching people fight to the death. It's the same thing. You're being entertained by someone's suffering and death. And you put that into the mind of a 4-year-old sitting there in front of the TV with the rest of the family watching all kinds of violence. And you think, oh, they're not paying attention. Yes, they are. It's going directly into their brain. The images, the visual image, simulated death is just as violent as, well, it doesn't matter if it's fake and it's acting. For the subconscious mind, it's all the same. So we're putting that into the minds of our children, and then we're wondering, that 4-year-old who watched all those hours of simulated murders, we're wondering why at 14 they can pull out a gun and shoot someone. We're wondering why. We already programmed them to do it.
Yep. Just like the card.
What you have to look at is the mother's genetics, because when she sees that, this is how the slave makers made slaves. The first part of the base of fear was on the ships. And what they would do is they would take a woman out of the hole that was pregnant. They would put a hook in her tongue and raise her up to mast and have all the other slaves stand there, and they would cut the child out and stomp it, because the fear that is instilled when seeing that makes that person submit, because they seeing that this person is so vicious that they will kill an unborn child. What would they do to me? That's
this is why
what they have done. And what we're looking at is now we're no longer having television. We have plasma television. Where do you get plasma from? The blood.
Wow.
So the frequency of the plasma television is to go into, that's why I said, the cellular level. Because they changed the frequency from analog to digital. And this digital mind is because the brain is water and it's neural. And so what they're doing is they're navigating the waters of your mind. That's why we have friendships, relationships, because we're the captains of our vessel. The mind grows the body. And if you infect the mind, you infect the body, and you cause the disconnection from the spirit. That's where the disease comes in. That's why we have to do the rituals, because when we say spiritual, we have to do the rituals to keep the spirit connected. Because when the spirit disconnects from the mind, which they call psychology, which is only the word spirit.
You know, there's something that Rashida mentioned earlier about phobias, and a guest that I'm going to strive to have and put it out in the universe so her mind can pick it up. Julia Cannon, who is the daughter of Dolores Cannon, the very groundbreaking hypnotherapist, past life regression therapist, and her daughter Julia Cannon, of course, is continuing her work with quantum healing hypnosis technique. But often what happens during a past life regression session with the therapist is that they discover how they died in a past life. And this is the key to a phobia that they have currently. You know, it's like somebody who drowned may have a fear of water, or somebody who was bitten by a poisonous snake has a fear of snakes, or somebody who was bitten by a spider might have fear of spiders, or somebody who was burned to death might have, fear of fire. And just, somebody who was maybe suffocated or enclosed in a box and died in an enclosed space may have claustrophobia. All kinds of things. Somebody who may have fallen from a great height and fell to their death may have fear of heights. So they're finding that because all of these things, your soul remembers all of your life experiences. And then you have things, as we talked about, of course, that are in your cellular memories from your ancestors. So it's so many things that create the conditions. And when you have unexplained fears, there's always an answer. And it's inside you. Whatever it is, the answer is inside of you. You have to be able to access it in various ways. So I'm definitely going to be working on having Julia Cannon come on as a guest and talk about these things that have to do with our eternal life force and all of the various life experiences we've had, and how they connect and how they influence us, and how we might still have the residual effects in the form of phobias. And especially those of us who may have been survivors or even not survived an experience during the very cruel period of enslavement where there were a lot of tortures. You have people who have, as a matter of fact, one session I was reading a woman who had been tortured and certain pains that she had in her body. Another woman under hypnosis because she'd had these migraine headaches on the back of her head, and discovered in a past life she had been guillotined, head had been chopped off. And each time during these sessions, after they've gone through the session and discovered the life experience or maybe the death experience that's causing the current either physical pain or phobia, it disappeared. It's like your body's giving you a message about something that you need to, maybe a trauma that you had not released in a past life, that once you release that trauma, then your body's no longer giving you that message that it's something that's still bothering you. Like we talked about pain being a body message.
Yes.
Our bodies are our messengers, giving us information of things that have been expressed in the emotional level, and it's affecting our cells in our bodies, and it's affecting the body and the way it functions. And when we get a message of pain, that means there's something that needs to be addressed because it's still creating an emotional distress. And the body messages that we get are sometimes of things that happen during a time when our life force energy was in another body, but we have brought that memory into this current body, and that's what our body is expressing. So I'm definitely looking forward to having her on as a guest to talk about that experience of having phobias that are signaling us that there is something in another life that our life force energy has experienced that's still carrying trauma for us.
Baba
And that's great. And I wanted to piggyback on that because the person that is a geneticist, his name is Dr. Bruce Lipton.
Yes.
Lipton and he shows where the DNA is programmable. And that's all that is happening with the reoccurrence and the activation of those DNAs, because the black woman carries the mitochondrial DNA of all humankind. So we pass on, it's passed on through the blood and through the genes, and that programming of trauma that happens. That's why I gave the incident about the slave maker, is that when you traumatize the person, that puts that into that woman especially, in that she sees that trauma and she is going to birth a child that is going to have it in its blood. And this is why it's so important, because even when you look at Africans New, and this is something that we said when is a person's birthday? It's not when you come from your birth from the womb. It happens when the woman has the thought. The girl has the thought. The girl has the thought of having a child programmed that what is going to be in that child before she can even conceive her body yet.
Brother Kwame, do you remember, and I guess maybe, seems like it's been maybe a few generations back, but it seemed like there was so many, particularly male children, being born deaf and without the capacity to speak. I'd call them deaf and dumb, but it was like there were so many that were being born either they could not hear or they could not speak, and it's like there was one in every family. Somebody who didn't have, maybe back in the 20s, the 30s, but when I look back at it, it seemed like it was right after that period of extreme violence with lynching and all of that. And you just wonder if, because the things were so unspeakable, things that you would hear, such as screams, horrible screams, it's just so traumatizing. And I'm wondering if women started producing children as a result of that trauma of what they saw, started producing children that could not speak and could not hear
Mm.
because of what they had undergone and what they had seen.
Right, and that was very true because it was programmed into that generation that saw that, and the generation that came after that carried that trauma to where that child could not speak or hear. And so what we're seeing is that these things are done to where you program the woman's genetic gene, and that when she has that child, it's already inundated with what was put into that mother. That's why when the African knew that when a woman conceived was the most precious time, and that you raised up and you gave and honored her with the highest of frequency, because everything that she experienced is going into that child. And you want to bring the best out. And even the part of conceiving a child, if a woman is raped or traumatized by an incident and she conceives and has that child is born with that trauma.
Oh.
That woman that sits there and watches and that thing that happens when she's having that exchange and she's in a bad way or watching something bad, that program is programmed into that conception. So what we have to look at is how do we conceive, because what I say it's a spiritual energy exchange. When you create life in the highest form of love, and the energy that will go into that conception will come forth.
Wow.
Yeah, let me call you back.
That's powerful, Baba Kwame. That is powerful. Thank you so much for sharing it. Never looked at it like that.
You know what I'd like to do, and maybe in our next men's discussion, that would be an issue. Men are not taught that sex is a spiritual act. They're not taught that. They're not taught the impact of a traumatizing sexual experience on a woman and how that will affect an unborn child or a child even to be conceived. They're not taught that it's a spiritual energy exchange, and they're not taught that what happens to a mother-to-be is going to affect the child that she conceives, or even the energy that she puts into the child. Men are not taught that as young men. So perhaps we can talk about how would you teach young men about sex differently than the way you learned, so that they could approach it as a spiritual energy exchange. What would be the process of changing the way men are taught about sexuality? I think right now, the way they're taught, they're more or less programmed to be very degrading of women, abusive of women, discarding women as if they're, toilet paper to use and throw away. I mean, it's horrific. But the manifestation of it is the kind of children that are raised with that low vibration and the kind of acts that we see them perpetuating. So it's everything from the thought that went to their conception, and sometimes the level of contempt that men have of women because of how they've been taught to view women, and maybe even their experiences with their own mothers that may have been negative. So all of that goes into the conception of a child, and then a child being raised by an angry mother, a frustrated mother. And so what the world then receives is a damaged soul that then expresses pain by giving pain. And that's what we're receiving. So if we want to reverse that, we have to start at the point before conception, so that both men and women understand the spiritual energy they are putting forth for the future of life that's going to come through her, but it's implanted by the man, and he's got to realize his energy is also affecting that whole process of what kind of soul they draw to them that's coming through them, that they're giving to the world. So, how do we change the thought? How do we change the process of teaching? And one of the things that I'm hoping we can address, I know that the conventional way has been to inject a lot of shame and fear into the teaching of sexuality, and that's not working in terms of helping people understand on a deeper spiritual level. So what has to happen is changing how we define things, how we help people understand the life force energy that goes into the act and the soul that they're attracting and all of those things. How do we transform the way we're teaching about it to men and women so that we can actually see different souls coming to earth that are not traumatized and not being raised by traumatized people? How do we do that? Is that a conversation we can have? And how do you think you can introduce that to men who've been taught so totally different about sexuality?
Right. And that's an excellent question for us to discuss as men, because it's men are, the masters of the earthly nature. And how do you master your earthly nature, your sexual nature? You give, it says by Plato or one of them said, you give me a boy before 7, and I will make the man. And this is what has happened, because we don't have rites of passage, we don't have manhood training, and we have these young men growing up and are programmed to think through media, through music, through peer pressure, that this is the way that you treat a woman. Back in the day, it was, a badge of honor to collect virgin pins, because young girls used to wear their virginity by symbolism by wearing a little circle of a virgin pin.
What?
I remember back in the day. Back in the day, there used to be a thing to where young girls with like a brooch, they would wear a little circle as they're showing that they were still virgin.
Oh my goodness.
Because their circle had been penetrated.
Oh my God.
So this is the quip. Right. And so this was a way in which guys used to say, oh man, she got a virgin pin, so we don't see if we can collect that one, But these are the things in which that we do not do, because that was a way in which young women were taught through the family guidance of aunts and grandmothers and mothers, is that this is a most sacred place, and you save this for marriage, because that was the ring that goes on to the phallus, and that was to be done at marriage, in the marriage ceremony. But now that the thing is to lose it before you even get into puberty.
So a lot of teaching has to go into the next generation that is of childbearing and child producing age. Everything that we're living through is to give us wisdom to not repeat the ignorance that has created the society that we're living
in. And it's manhood training, because we're trying to fix broken men in order for them to be, for the women that are going through the rights. They're repairing the women, but we saw that, okay, you're repairing the women, they're going back in communities amongst broken men. So we had to begin to repair each one, because this is why we start and looking at starting rights early again, is because it's easier to fix a broken child than it is a broken adult.
All right.
Because the work that we have to do is deprogramming men and being able to give them tools to rebuild what was societally put into them as to what a man is.
Absolutely. It's like the difference between molding a pot out of clay and watching it dry and form, and taking a rock and trying to chisel it into a pot. If you have something you can mold as a child, it's much better than trying to chisel it into shape as an adult. So this is what we have to do.
Right. Because it's
mold the children.
Hard to take a rock and make it so it can hold water. And that's the key, because you want the vessel to carry.
Right.
Water is memory and consciousness. We are all water. And so how do you mold the vessel that's going to carry the memory and consciousness of who we are?
Wow.
Right.
Well, just remember, you heard it here first on The Female Solution on Monday Morning Mindfulness. I am joined by Naima Latif, the executive producer of The Female Solution. Naima, you want to give us a closing thought and your contact information?
Well, we want to encourage you to always watch us on The Female Solution. We have a wonderful team of hosts 7 days a week. And of course, if you're in Central Time, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern, and whatever time period it is, adjust your time so you can watch us Monday through Friday. And then, of course, Saturdays, 12 noon to 2 p.m. Central, and Sundays, 7 to 9 p.m. Central, always full of wisdom. We have such wonderful hosts that bring you information and enlightened guests, because we're here to help transform your thought and create a new reality. So we'll be here tomorrow. Listen to Jody Susan with Self-Cell Care, and then we'll have our next session of men only discussions on fatherhood. We have some very powerful men, and we're going to have them joined by some young men this Wednesday to really give some insight on how to transform this next generation that is going to be planting the seeds of life that will create a new world. And then, of course, Thursday, we've got some wonderful women on our Thursday Women's Roundtable discussion. We'll be talking about some relationship issues that could be a bit challenging, but we really do want to talk about your first intimate experience and how that affected you.
And I can't wait to have was it next Monday, the lady from the church coming on talking about how to
be next Monday, yeah.
So when I heard the title, How to Be a Good Wife, I was like, so what's the lesson here? What do I need to learn before you jump out?
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
First lady of Christian's Temple, FBH Church. She's doing a 4-part series during Women's Month on how to be a good wife. So she'll be joining us next Monday, and I'm looking forward to it.
What church?
The Christian's Temple, FBH Church, and it's on the west side here in Chicago. They have wonderful Sunday services. You can see them online, on Facebook, on Sunday mornings, and of course, First Lady of the church, wonderful sister, Doreen Little. Just one of those women that always on the go, always got a vision how to make it happen. And so she's teaching, and every Saturday in March, these sessions will be on how to be a good wife. And we really do need to help our sisters learn positive partnerships. A lot of it has changed in our partnerships, positive partnerships, and we have to be prepared for that. It's not about, find somebody who can give me something. How do you enhance someone's spiritual growth as their life partner? That's what we're two souls on a journey together. So we should be enhancing each other spiritually. And
how to be a good partner.
How to be a good partner. You gotta sometimes have to learn that if it wasn't modeled in your homes, and most of us it was not modeled.
Never saw it.
If you don't saw it, if you don't see it, you can't be it. So
right.
Looking forward to her. And of course, every day here we're excited to share information, and we look forward to you being with us. And we want you to go to our new show, 3 Black Moms. Definitely go to our YouTube show, 3 Black Moms. And we're going to share our wisdom as mothers, wives, sisters, daughters. And if you've got a question, leave it on our Facebook page. We will address it in our next edition. And we will certainly look forward to having you give us feedback on 3 Black Moms. And I'm always glad to share thoughts from those who are featured on the on-air news network. It's onaireverywhere.com. And we have the radio TV guide to uplifting programs. And every morning at 5:55, I share information from one of those voices of enlightenment that can help to enhance your life. So if you're up early, join me at 5:55 on my Facebook page every morning and hear from one of our voices of enlightenment from the On Air Network.
And your contact information?
And of course, you can always reach me at well, of course, you can always email me at naima.thefemalesolution@gmail.com. That's naima.thefemalesolution@gmail.com. NAIMAH.thefemalesolution@gmail.com.
Closing words, Baba. Kwame Sunhorse.
I would just say, stand in the mirror and look into that mirror and look at that which you see until you can love it, because you are the one you've been waiting for.
And on that note, we've been waiting on you. We are grateful for you, and we will see you back here when you are ready again to be a solutionary right here on the Female Solution. So thank you so much for joining us today. Tune in tomorrow, Self-Care with Jody Susan on the Female Solution. Stay on purpose, stay empowered, and stay tuned to your next broadcast of the Female Solution and Monday Morning Mindfulness. And thanks for watching. Make it a great day. Shalom, namaste, hotep, peace.